Chapters 1 through 5 of the first book of the Kings, from the Young's literal translation of the Bible. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or how to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Mark Penfold. Chapter 1. And King David is old, entering into days, and they cover him with garments, and he hath no heat. And his servants say to him, Let them seek for my lord the king a young woman, a virgin, and she hath stood before the king, and is to him a companion, and hath lain in thy bosom, and my lord the king hath heat. And they seek a fair young woman in all the border of Israel, and find Abishag the Shunammite, and bring her in to the king. And the young woman is very, very fair, and she is to the king a companion, and serveth him, and the king hath not known her. And Adonijah son of Haggith is lifting himself up, saying, I do reign. And he prepareth for himself a chariot and horsemen, and 50 men running before him. And his father hath not grieved him all his days, saying, Wherefore thus hast thou done? And he also is of a very good form, and his mother bare him after Absalom. And his words are with Joab son of Zeruiah, and with Abiathar the priest, and they help after Adonijah. And Zadok the priest, and Benaiah son of Jehoiada, and Nathan the prophet, and Shimei, and Rei, and the mighty ones whom David hath, have not been with Adonijah. And Adonijah sacrificeth sheep and oxen and fatlings near the stone of Zoheleth, that is by Enrogel, and calleth all his brethren, sons of the king, and for all the men of Judah, servants of the king. And Nathan the prophet, and Benaiah, and the mighty ones, and Solomon his brother, he hath not called. And Nathan speaketh unto Bathsheba, mother of Solomon, saying, Hast thou not heard that Adonijah son of Haggith hath reigned, and our lord David hath not known? And now come, let me counsel thee, I pray thee, and deliver thy life, and the life of thy son Solomon. Go and enter in unto King David, and thou hast said unto him, Hast thou not, my lord, O king, sworn to thy handmaid, saying, Surely Solomon thy son doth reign after me, and he doth sit on my throne? And wherefore hath Adonijah reigned? Lo, thou art yet speaking there with the king, and I come in after thee, and have completed thy words. And Bathsheba cometh in unto the king to the inner chamber, and the king is very aged, and Abishag the Shunammite is serving the king. And Bathsheba boweth and doth obeisance to the king. And the king saith, What to thee? And she saith to him, My lord, thou hast sworn by Jehovah thy God to thy handmaid, Surely Solomon thy son doth reign after me, and he doth sit on my throne. And now, lo, Adonijah hath reigned, and now, my lord, O king, thou hast not known. And he sacrificeth ox and fatling and sheep in abundance, and calleth for all the sons of the king, and for Abiathar the priest, and for Joab head of the host, and for Solomon thy servant he hath not called. And thou, my lord, O king, the eyes of all Israel are on thee, to declare to them who doth sit on the throne of my lord the king after him. And it hath been, when my lord the king lieth with his fathers, that I have been, I and my son Solomon, reckoned sinners. And lo, she is yet speaking with the king, and Nathan the prophet hath come in. And they declared to the king, saying, Lo, Nathan the prophet! And he cometh in before the king, and boweth himself to the king on his face to the earth. And Nathan saith, My lord, O king, thou hast said, Adonijah doth reign after me, and he doth sit on my throne. For he hath gone down today, and doth sacrifice ox and fatling and sheep in abundance, and calleth for all the sons of the king, and for the heads of the host, and for Abiathar the priest. And lo, they are eating and drinking before him, and they say, Let King Adonijah live. And for me thy servant, and for Zadok the priest, and for Benaiah son of Jehoiada, and for Solomon thy servant he hath not called. If from my lord the king this thing hath been, then thou hast not caused thy servant to know who doth sit on the throne of my lord the king after him. And King David answereth and saith, Call for me for Bathsheba. And she cometh in before the king, and standeth before the king. And the king sweareth and saith, Jehovah liveth, who hath redeemed my soul out of all adversity. Surely, as I swear to thee by Jehovah, God of Israel, saying, Surely Solomon thy son doth reign after me, and he doth sit on my throne in my stead. Surely so I do this day. And Bathsheba boweth face to the earth, and doth obeisance to the king, and saith, Let my lord King David live to the age. And King David saith, Call for me for Zadok the priest, and for Nathan the prophet, and for Benaiah son of Jehoiada. And they come in before the king. And the king saith to them, Take with you the servants of your lord, and ye have caused Solomon my son to ride on mine own mule, and caused him to go down unto Gihon, and anointed him there hath Zadok the priest, and Nathan the prophet, for king over Israel, and ye have blown with a trumpet, and said, Let King Solomon live. And ye have come up after him, and he hath come in, and hath sit on my throne, and he doth reign in my stead, and him I have appointed to be leader over Israel and over Judah. And Benaiah son of Jehoiada answereth the king, and saith, Amen. So doth Jehovah, God of my lord the king, say, As Jehovah hath been with my lord the king, so is he with Solomon, and doth make his throne greater than the throne of my lord King David. And Zadok the priest goeth down, and Nathan the prophet, and Benaiah son of Jehoiada, and the Kerethite, and the Pelethite, and they cause Solomon to ride on the mule of King David, and cause him to go unto Gihon. And Zadok the priest taketh the horn of oil out of the tent, and anointeth Solomon. And they blow with a trumpet, and all the people say, Let King Solomon live. And all the people come up after him, and the people are piping with pipes, and rejoicing, great joy, and the earth rendeth with their voice. And Adonijah heareth, and all those called who are with him, and they have finished to eat, and Joab heareth the noise of the trumpet, and saith, Wherefore is the noise of the city roaring? He is yet speaking, and lo, Jonathan son of Abiathar the priest hath come in, and Adonijah saith, Come in, for a man of valor thou art, and thou bearest good tidings. And Jonathan answereth and saith to Adonijah, Verily, our lord King David hath caused Solomon to reign. And the king sendeth with him Zadok the priest, and Nathan the prophet, and Benaiah son of Jehoiada, and the Kerethite, and the Pelethite, and they cause him to ride on the king's mule, and they anoint him, Zadok the priest, and Nathan the prophet, for king in Gihon, and are come up thence rejoicing, and the city is moved. It is the noise that ye have heard. And also Solomon hath sat on the throne of the kingdom, and also the servants of the king have come in to bless our lord King David, saying, Thy God doth make the name of Solomon better than thy name, and his throne greater than thy throne. And the king boweth himself on the bed. And also thus hath the king said, Blessed is Jehovah God of Israel, who hath given today one sitting on my throne, and mine eyes seeing. And they tremble and rise, all those called who are for Adonijah, and go, each on his way. And Adonijah feareth because of Solomon, and riseth, and goeth, and layeth hold on the horns of the altar. And it is declared to Solomon, saying, Lo, Adonijah feareth King Solomon, and lo, he hath laid hold on the horns of the altar, saying, Let King Solomon swear to me as today, he doth not put to death his servant by the sword. And Solomon saith, If he becometh a virtuous man, there doth not fall of his hair to the earth. And if evil is found in him, then he hath died. And King Solomon sendeth, and they bring him down from off the altar. And he cometh in and boweth himself to King Solomon. And Solomon saith to him, Go to thy house. Chapter 2. And draw near do the days of David to die. And he chargeth Solomon his son, saying, I am going in the way of all the earth, and thou hast been strong, and become a man, and kept the charge of Jehovah thy God, to walk in his ways, to keep his statutes, his commands, and his judgments, and his testimonies, as it is written in the law of Moses, so that thou dost wisely all that thou dost, and whithersoever thou turnest, so that Jehovah doth establish his word which he spake unto me, saying, If thy sons observe their way to walk before me in truth, with all their heart, and with all their soul, saying, There is not cut off a man of thine from the throne of Israel. And also, thou hast known that which he did to me, Joab son of Zeruiah, that which he did to 2 heads of the hosts of Israel, to Abner son of Ner, and to Amasa son of Jether, that he slayeth them, and maketh the blood of war in peace, and putteth the blood of war in his girdle, that is on his loins, and in his sandals that are on his feet. And thou hast done according to thy wisdom, and dost not let his old age go down in peace to Sheol. And to the sons of Barzillai the Gileadite thou dost do kindness, and they have been among those eating at thy table. For so they drew near unto me in my fleeing from the face of Absalom thy brother. And lo, with thee is Shimei son of Gera, the Benjamite of Bahurim, and he reviled me, a grievous reviling, in the day of my going to Mahanaim. And he hath come down to meet me at the Jordan, and I swear to him by Jehovah, saying, I do not put thee to death by the sword. And now acquit him not, for a wise man thou art, and thou hast known that which thou dost to him, and hast brought down his old age with blood to Sheol. And David lieth down with his fathers, and is buried in the city of David. And the days that David hath reigned over Israel are 40 years. In Hebron he hath reigned 7 years, and in Jerusalem he hath reigned 33 years. And Solomon hath sat on the throne of David his father, and his kingdom is established greatly. And Adonijah son of Haggith cometh in unto Bathsheba, mother of Solomon. And she saith, Is thy coming peace? And he saith, Peace. And he saith, I have a word unto thee. And she saith, Speak. And he saith, Thou hast known that the kingdom was mine, and towards me set their faces had all Israel for reigning. And the kingdom is turned round about, and is my brother's, for from Jehovah it was his. And now, one petition I am asking of thee, turn not back my face. And she saith unto him, Speak. And he saith, Speak, I pray thee, to Solomon the king, for he doth not turn back thy face, and he doth give to me Abishag the Shunammite for a wife. And Bathsheba saith, Good, I do speak for thee unto the king. And Bathsheba cometh in unto King Solomon to speak to him for Adonijah, And the king riseth to meet her, and boweth himself to her, and sitteth on his throne, and placeth a throne for the mother of the king, and she sitteth at his right hand. And she saith, One small petition I ask of thee, turn not back my face. And the king saith to her, Ask, my mother, for I do not turn back thy face. And she saith, Let Abishag the Shunammite be given to Adonijah thy brother for a wife. And King Solomon answereth and saith to his mother, And why art thou asking Abishag the Shunammite for Adonijah? Also ask for him the kingdom, for he is mine elder brother, even for him, and for Abiathar the priest, and for Joab son of Zeruiah. And King Solomon sweareth by Jehovah, saying, Thus doth God to me, and thus he doth add, Surely against his soul hath Adonijah spoken this word. And now Jehovah liveth, who hath established me, and causeth me to sit on the throne of David my father, and who hath made for me an house as he spake. Surely today is Adonijah put to death. And King Solomon sendeth by the hand of Benaiah son of Jehoiada, and he falleth upon him, and he dieth. And to Abiathar the priest said the king, To Anathoth go, unto thy fields, for a man of death thou art. But in this day I do not put thee to death, because thou hast borne the ark of the Lord Jehovah before David my father, and because thou wast afflicted in all that my father was afflicted in. And Solomon casteth out Abiathar from being priest to Jehovah, to fulfill the word of Jehovah which he spake concerning the house of Eli in Shiloh. And the report hath come unto Joab, for Joab hath turned aside after Adonijah, though after Absalom he did not turn aside. And Joab fleeth unto the tent of Jehovah, and layeth hold on the horns of the altar. And it is declared to King Solomon that Joab hath fled unto the tent of Jehovah, and lo, near the altar. And Solomon sendeth Benaiah son of Jehoiada, saying, Go, fall upon him. And Benaiah cometh in unto the tent of Jehovah, and saith unto him, Thus said the king, Come out. And he saith, Nay, but here I die. And Benaiah bringeth back the king word, saying, Thus spake Joab, yea, thus he answered me. And the king saith to him, Do as he hath spoken, and fall upon him, and thou hast buried him, and turned aside the causeless blood which Joab shed from off me, and from off the house of my father. And Jehovah hath turned back his blood on his own head, who hath fallen on 2 men more righteous and better than he, and slayeth them with the sword. And my father David knew not, Abner son of Ner, head of the host of Israel, and Amasa son of Jether, head of the host of Judah. Yea, turned back hath their blood on the head of Joab, and on the head of his seed to the age. And for David, and for his seed, and for his house, and for his throne, there is peace unto the age from Jehovah. And Benaiah son of Jehoiada goeth up, and falleth upon him, and putteth him to death, and he is buried in his own house in the wilderness. And the king putteth Benaiah son of Jehoiada in his stead over the host, and Zadok the priest hath the king put in the stead of Abiathar. And the king sendeth and calleth for Shimei, and saith to him, Build for thee a house in Jerusalem, and thou hast dwelt there, and dost not go out thence anywhere. And it hath been in the day of thy going out, and thou hast passed over the brook Kidron. Thou dost certainly know that thou dost surely die. Thy blood is on thy head. And Shimei saith to the king, The word is good. As my lord the king hath spoken, so doth thy servant do. And Shimei dwelleth in Jerusalem many days. And it cometh to pass at the end of 3 years, that flee do 2 of the servants of Shimei unto Achish son of Maacah, king of Gath. And they declare to Shimei, saying, Lo, thy servants are in Gath. And Shimei riseth, and saddleth his ass, and goeth to Gath, unto Achish, to seek his servants. And Shimei goeth, and bringeth his servants from Gath. And it is declared to Solomon that Shimei hath gone from Jerusalem to Gath, and doth return. And the king sendeth and calleth for Shimei, and saith unto him, Have I not caused thee to swear by Jehovah? And I testify against thee, saying, in the day of thy going out, and thou hast gone anywhere, thou dost certainly know that thou dost surely die. And thou sayest unto me, the word I have heard is good? And wherefore hast thou not kept the oath of Jehovah, and the charge that I charged upon thee? And the king saith unto Shimei, Thou hast known all the evil that thy heart hath known, which thou didst to David my father, and Jehovah hath turned back thine evil on thy head. And King Solomon is blessed, and the throne of David is established before Jehovah unto the age. And the king chargeth Benaiah son of Jehoiada, and he goeth out and falleth on him, and he dieth, and the kingdom is established in the hand of Solomon. Chapter 3. And Solomon joineth in marriage with Pharaoh king of Egypt, and taketh the daughter of Pharaoh, and bringeth her in unto the city of David, till he completeth to build his own house, and the house of Jehovah, and the wall of Jerusalem round about. Only the people are sacrificing in high places, for there hath not been built a house for the name of Jehovah till those days. And Solomon loveth Jehovah, to walk in the statutes of David his father. Only in high places he is sacrificing and making perfume. And the king goeth to Gibeon to sacrifice there, for it is the great high place. 1,000 burnt offerings caused to ascend doth Solomon on that altar. In Gibeon hath Jehovah appeared unto Solomon in a dream of the night, and God saith, Ask, what do I give to thee? And Solomon saith, Thou hast done with thy servant David my father great kindness, as he walked before thee in truth and in righteousness and in uprightness of heart with thee. And thou dost keep for him this great kindness, and dost give to him a son sitting on his throne, as at this day. And now, O Jehovah my God, thou hast caused thy servant to reign instead of David my father, and I am a little child. I do not know to go out and to come in. And thy servant is in the midst of thy people, whom thou hast chosen, a people numerous, that is not numbered nor counted for multitude. And thou hast given to thy servant an understanding heart to judge thy people, to discern between good and evil. For who is able to judge this thy great people? And the thing is good in the eyes of the Lord, that Solomon hath asked this thing. And God saith unto him, Because that thou hast asked this thing, and hast not asked for thee many days, nor asked for thee riches, nor asked the life of thine enemies, and hast asked for thee discernment to understand judgment. Lo, I have done according to thy words. Lo, I have given to thee a heart wise and understanding, that like thee there hath not been before thee, and after thee there doth not arise like thee. And also, that which thou hast not asked I have given to thee, both riches and honor, that there hath not been like thee a man among the kings all thy days. And if thou dost walk in my ways, to keep my statutes and my commands, as David thy father walked, then I have prolonged thy days. And Solomon awaketh, and lo, a dream. And he cometh into Jerusalem, and standeth before the ark of the covenant of Jehovah, and causeth to ascend burnt offerings, and maketh peace offerings. And he maketh a banquet for all his servants. Then come in do 2 women, harlots, unto the king, and stand before him. And the one woman saith, O my lord, I and this woman are dwelling in one house, and I bring forth with her in the house. And it cometh to pass on the 3rd day of my bringing forth, that this woman also bringeth forth, and we are together. There is no stranger with us in the house, save we 2 in the house. And the son of this woman dieth at night, because she hath lain upon it. And she riseth in the middle of the night, and taketh my son from beside me, and thy handmaid is asleep, and layeth it in her bosom, and her dead son she hath laid in my bosom. And I rise in the morning to suckle my son, and lo, dead! And I consider concerning it in the morning, and lo, it was not my son whom I did bear. And the other woman saith, Nay, but my son is the living, and thy son the dead. And this one saith, Nay, but thy son is the dead, and my son the living. And they speak before the king. And the king saith,
This one saith, This is my son, the living, and thy son is the dead. And that one saith, Nay, but thy son is the dead, and my son the living. And the king saith, Take for me a sword. And they bring the sword before the king. And the king saith, Cut the living child into two, and give the half to the one, and the half to the other. And the woman whose son is the living one saith unto the king, for her bowels yearned over her son, yea, she saith, O my lord, give to her the living child, and put it not at all to death. And this one saith, Let it be neither mine or thine. Cut it. And the king answereth and saith, Give ye to her the living child, and put it not at all to death. She is its mother. And all Israel hear of the judgment that the king hath judged, and fear because of the king, for they have seen that the wisdom of God is in his heart to do judgment.
Chapter 4. And King Solomon is king over all Israel, and these are the heads whom he hath. Azariah, son of Zadok, is the priest. Elihoreph and Ahiah, sons of Shisha, are scribes. Jehoshaphat, son of Ahilud, is remembrancer. And Benaiah, son of Jehoiada, is over the host. And Zadok and Abiathar are priests. And Azariah, son of Nathan, is over the officers. And Zabud, son of Nathan, is minister, friend of the king. And Ahishar is over the household. And Adoniram, son of Abda, is over the tribute. And Solomon hath 12 officers over all Israel, and they have sustained the king and his household. A month in the year is on each one for sustenance. And these are their names: Ben-Hur in the hill country of Ephraim, Ben-Dekar in Makaz, and Sha'albim, and Beth-Shemesh, and Elon Beth-Hanan. Ben-Hesed is in Aruboth, hath Soko and all the land of Hepher. Ben-Abinadab hath all the elevation of Dur. Taphath, daughter of Solomon, became his wife. Baana ben-Ahilud hath Taanach and Megiddo, and all Beth-Shean, which is by Zartana beneath Jezreel, from Beth-Shean unto Abel-Meholah, unto beyond Jokneam. Ben-Geber in Ramoth-Gilead hath the small towns of Jair, son of Manasseh, which are in Gilead. He hath a portion of Argob that is in Bashan, 60 great cities, with wall and brazen bar. Ahinadab, son of Iddo, hath Mahanaim. Ahimaaz is in Naphtali. He also hath taken Basemath, daughter of Solomon, for a wife. Baana ben Hushai is in Asher and in Aloth. Jehoshaphat ben Paruah is in Issachar. Shimei ben Elah is in Benjamin. Geber ben Uri is in the land of Gilead, the land of Sihon king of the Amorite, and of Og king of Bashan, and one officer who is in the land. Judah and Israel are many, as the sand that is by the sea for multitude, eating and drinking and rejoicing. And Solomon hath been ruling over all the kingdoms, from the river to the land of the Philistines, and unto the border of Egypt. They are bringing nigh a present, and serving Solomon all days of his life. And the provision of Solomon for one day is 30 cors of flour, and 60 cors of meal, 10 fat oxen, and 20 feeding oxen, and 100 sheep, apart from hart, and roe, and fallow deer, and fatted beasts of the stalls. For he is ruling over all beyond the river, from Tiphsah and unto Gaza, over all the kings beyond the river. And he hath peace from all his servants round about. And Judah dwelleth, and Israel, in confidence, each under his vine and under his fig tree, from Dan even unto Beersheba, all the days of Solomon. And Solomon hath 40,000 stalls of horses for his chariots, and 12,000 horsemen. And these officers have sustained King Solomon, and every one drawing near unto the table of King Solomon, each in his month. They let nothing be lacking. And the barley and the straw, for horses and for dromedaries, they bring in unto the place where they are, each according to his ordinance. And God giveth wisdom to Solomon, and understanding very much, and breadth of heart, as the sand that is on the edge of the sea. And the wisdom of Solomon is greater than the wisdom of any of the sons of the east, and than all the wisdom of Egypt. And he is wiser than all men, than Ethan the Ezrahite, and Heman, and Calcol, and Darda, sons of Mahol, and his name is in all the nations round about. And he speaketh 3,000 similes, and his songs are 5, and the chief one. And he speaketh concerning the trees, from the cedar that is in Lebanon, even unto the hyssop that is coming out in the wall. And he speaketh concerning the cattle, and concerning the fowl, and concerning the creeping things, and concerning the fishes. And there come out of all the peoples to hear the wisdom of Solomon, from all kings of the earth who have heard of his wisdom. Chapter 5. And Hiram king of Tyre sendeth his servants unto Solomon, for he heard that they had anointed him for king instead of his father. For Hiram was a lover of David all the days. And Solomon sendeth unto Hiram, saying, Thou hast known David my father, that he hath not been able to build a house to the name of Jehovah his God, because of the wars that have been round about him, till Jehovah's putting them under the soles of his feet. And now Jehovah my God hath given rest to me round about. There is no adversary nor evil occurrence. And lo, I am saying to build a house to the name of Jehovah my God, as Jehovah spake unto David my father, saying, Thy son, whom I appoint in thy stead on thy throne, he doth build the house for my name. And now command, and they cut down for me cedars out of Lebanon, and my servants are with thy servants, and the hire of thy servants I give to thee, according to all that thou sayest. For thou hast known that there is not among us a man acquainted with cutting wood like the Sidonians. And it cometh to pass at Hiram's hearing the words of Solomon, that he rejoiceth exceedingly, and saith, Blessed is Jehovah today, who hath given to David a wise son over this numerous people. And Hiram sendeth unto Solomon, saying, I have heard that which thou hast sent unto me. I do all thy desire concerning cedar wood and fir wood. My servants bring down from Lebanon to the sea, and I make them floats in the sea unto the place that thou sendest unto me, and I have spread them out there. And thou dost take them up, and thou dost execute my desire, to give the food of my house. And Hiram is giving to Solomon cedar trees and fir trees, all his desire. And Solomon hath given to Hiram 20,000 cores of wheat, food for his house, and 20 cores of beaten oil. Thus doth Solomon give to Hiram year by year. And Jehovah hath given wisdom to Solomon as he spake to him, and there is peace between Hiram and Solomon, and they make a covenant both of them. And King Solomon lifteth up a tribute out of all Israel, and the tribute is 30,000 men. And he sendeth them to Lebanon, 10,000 a month by changes. A month they are in Lebanon, 2 months in their own house, and Adoniram is over the tribute. And King Solomon hath 70,000 bearing burdens, and 80,000 hewing in the mountain. Apart from the heads of the officers of Solomon, who are over the work, 3,300, those ruling over the people who are working in the business. And the king commandeth, and they bring great stones, precious stone, to lay the foundation of the house, hewn stones. And the builders of Solomon, and the builders of Hiram, and the Giblites hew, and prepare the wood and the stones to build the house. The end of chapters 1 through 5. Recording by Mark Penfold. Chapters 6 through 11 of the first book of the Kings, from the Young's Literal Translation. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Recording by Mark Penfold. Chapter 6. And it cometh to pass in the 480th year of the going out of the sons of Israel from the land of Egypt, in the 4th year, in the month of Ziph, it is the 2nd month, of the reigning of Solomon over Israel, that he buildeth the house for Jehovah. As to the house that King Solomon hath built for Jehovah, 60 cubits is its length, and 20 its breadth, and 30 cubits its height. As to the porch on the front of the temple of the house, 20 cubits is its length on the front of the breadth of the house. 10 by the cubit is its breadth on the front of the house. And he maketh for the house windows of narrow lights. And he buildeth against the wall of the house a couch round about, even the walls of the house round about, of the temple and of the oracle, and maketh sides round about. The lowest couch, 5 by the cubit is its breadth, and the middle, 6 by the cubit is its breadth, And the third, 7 by the cubit is its breadth. For with drawings he hath put to the house round about without, not to lay hold on the walls of the house. And the house, in its being built, of perfect stone brought thither hath been built, and hammer, and the axe, any instrument of iron, was not heard in the house in its being built. The opening of the middle side is at the right shoulder of the house, and with windings they go up on the middle one, and from the middle one unto the third. And he buildeth the house, and completeth it, and covereth the house with beams and rows of cedars. And he buildeth the couch against all the house. 5 cubits is its height, and it taketh hold of the house by cedar wood. And the word of Jehovah is unto Solomon, saying, This house that thou art building, if thou dost walk in my statutes, and my judgments dost do, yea, hast done all my commands, to walk in them, then I have established my word with thee, which I spake unto David thy father, and have tabernacled in the midst of the sons of Israel, and do not forsake my people Israel. And Solomon buildeth the house, and completeth it. And he buildeth the walls of the house within with beams of cedar, from the floor of the house unto the walls of the ceiling. He hath overlaid with wood the inside, and covereth the floor of the house with ribs of fir. And he buildeth the 20 cubits on the sides of the house with ribs of cedar, from the floor unto the walls. And he buildeth for it within, for the oracle, for the holy of holies. And 40 by the cubit was the house, it is the temple before it. And the cedar for the house within is carvings of knobs and openings of flowers. The whole is cedar, there is not a stone seen. And the oracle in the midst of the house within he hath prepared, to put there the ark of the covenant of Jehovah. And before the oracle is 20 cubits in length, and 20 cubits in breadth, and 20 cubits is its height. And he overlayeth it with gold refined, and overlayeth the altar with cedar. And Solomon overlayeth the house within with gold refined, and causeth it to pass over in chains of gold before the oracle, and overlayeth it with gold. And the whole of the house he hath overlaid with gold till the completion of all the house. And the whole of the altar that the oracle hath he hath overlaid with gold. And he maketh within the oracle 2 cherubs of the oil tree, 10 cubits is their height. And 5 cubits is the one wing of the cherub, and 5 cubits the second wing of the cherub, 10 cubits from the ends of its wings even unto the ends of its wings. And 10 by the cubit is the second cherub, 1 measure and 1 form are to the 2 cherubs. The height of the one cherub is 10 by the cubit, and so is the second cherub. And he setteth the cherubs in the midst of the inner house, and they spread out the wings of the cherubs, and a wing of the one cometh against the wall, and a wing of the second cherub is coming against the second wall, and their wings are unto the midst of the house, coming wing against wing. And he overlayeth the cherubs with gold. And all the walls of the house round about he hath carved with openings of carvings, cherubs, and palm trees, and openings of flowers, within and without. And the floor of the house he hath overlaid with gold, within and without. As to the opening of the oracle, he made doors of the oil tree, the lintel, side posts, a 5th. And the 2 doors are of the oil tree, and he hath carved upon them carvings of cherubs, and palm trees, and openings of flowers, and overlaid with gold. And he causeth the gold to go down on the cherubs and on the palm trees. And so he hath made for the opening of the temple side posts of the oil tree from the 4th. And the 2 doors are of fir tree. The 2 sides of the one door are revolving, and the 2 hangings of the second door are revolving. And he hath carved cherubs, and palms, and openings of flowers, and overlaid with straitened gold the graved work. And he buildeth the inner court, 3 rows of hewn work, and a row of beams of cedar. In the 4th year hath the house of Jehovah been founded, in the month Ziph. And in the 11th year, in the month Bul, that is the 8th month, hath the house been finished in all its matters, and in all its ordinances, and he buildeth it 7 years. Chapter 7. And his own house hath Solomon built 13 years, and he finisheth all his house. And he buildeth the house of the forest of Lebanon. 100 cubits is its length, and 50 cubits its breadth, and 30 cubits its height, on 4 rows of cedar pillars, and cedar beams on the pillars. And it is covered with cedar above, on the sides that are on the 45 pillars, 15 in the row. And windows are in 3 rows, and site is over against site 3 times. And all the openings and the side posts are square, windows, and site is over against site 3 times. And the porch of the pillars he hath made, 50 cubits its length, and 30 cubits its breadth. And the porch is before them, and pillars and a thick place are before them. And the porch of the throne where he judgeth, the porch of judgment, he hath made, and it is covered with cedar from the floor unto the floor. And to his house where he dwelleth, the other court is within the porch, as this work it hath been. And a house he maketh for the daughter of Pharaoh, whom Solomon hath taken, like this porch. All these are of precious stone, according to the measures of hewn work, sawn with a saw, within and without, even from the foundation unto the coping, and at the outside unto the great court. And the foundation is of precious stone, great stones, stones of 10 cubits, and stones of 8 cubits. And above are precious stone, according to the measures of hewn work, and cedar. And the great court round about is 3 rows of hewn work, and a row of cedar beams, even for the inner court of the house of Jehovah, and for the porch of the house. And King Solomon sendeth and taketh Hiram out of Tyre. He is son of a woman, a widow of the tribe of Naphtali, and his father a man of Tyre, a worker in brass. And he is filled with the wisdom and the understanding and the knowledge to do all work in brass. And he cometh unto King Solomon, and doth all his work. And he formeth the 2 pillars of brass. 18 cubits is the height of the 1 pillar, and a cord of 12 cubits doth compass the 2nd pillar. And 2 chapiters he hath made to put on the tops of the pillars, cast in brass. 5 cubits the height of the 1 chapiter, and 5 cubits the height of the 2nd chapiter. Nets of network, wreaths of chainwork, are for the chapiters that are on the top of the pillars, 7 for the 1 chapiter, and 7 for the 2nd chapiter. And he maketh the pillars, and 2 rows round about on the 1 network, to cover the chapiters that are on the top, with the pomegranates, and so he hath made for the 2nd chapiter. And the chapiters that are on the top of the pillars are of lily work in the porch, 4 cubits. And the chapiters on the 2 pillars also above, over against the protuberance that is beside the net, and the pomegranates are 200 in rows round about on the 2nd chapiter. And he raiseth up the pillars for the porch of the temple, and he raiseth up the right pillar, and calleth its name Jachin, and he raiseth up the left pillar, and calleth its name Boaz. And on the top of the pillars is lily work, and the work of the pillars is completed. And he maketh the molten sea, 10 by the cubit from its edge unto its edge. It is round all about, and 5 by the cubit is its height, and a line of 30 by the cubit doth compass it round about. And knops beneath its brim round about are compassing it, 10 by the cubit, going round the sea round about. In 2 rows are the knops, cast in its being cast. It is standing on 12 oxen, 3 facing the north, and 3 facing the west, and 3 facing the south, and 3 facing the east. And the sea is upon them above, and all their hinder parts are inward. And its thickness is an handbreadth, and its edge as the work of the edge of a cup, flowers of lilies. 2,000 baths it containeth. And he maketh the 10 bases of brass. 4 by the cubit is the length of the 1 brass, and 4 by the cubit its breadth, and 3 by the cubit its height. And this is the work of the base. They have borders, and the borders are between the joinings. And on the borders that are between the joinings are lions, oxen, and cherubs. And on the joinings a base above, and beneath the lions and the oxen are additions, sloping work. And 4 wheels of brass are to the 1 base, and axles of brass. And its 4 corners have shoulders. Under the laver are the molten shoulders, beside each addition. And its mouth within the chapiter and above is by the cubit, and its mouth is round, the work of the base, a cubit and half a cubit. And also on its mouth are carvings and their borders, square, not round. And the 4 wheels are under the borders, and the spokes of the wheels are in the base. And the height of the 1 wheel is a cubit and half a cubit. And the work of the wheels is as the work of the wheel of a chariot, their spokes, and their axles, and their felloes, and their naves. The whole is molten. And 4 shoulders are unto the 4 corners of the one base, out of the base are its shoulders. And in the top of the base is the half of a cubit in the height all round about. And on the top of the base its spokes and its borders are of the same. And he openeth on the tablets of its spokes, and on its borders, cherubs, lions, and palm trees, according to the void space of each, and additions round about. Thus he hath made the 10 bases, 1 casting, 1 measure, 1 form have they all. And he maketh 10 lavers of brass. 40 baths doth the 1 laver contain, 4 by the cubit is the 1 laver. 1 laver on the 1 base is to the 10 bases. And he putteth the 5 bases on the right side of the house, and 5 on the left side of the house. And the sea he hath put on the right side of the house, eastward, over against the south. And Hiram maketh the lavers, and the shovels, and the bowls. And Hiram completeth to do all the work that he made for King Solomon for the house of Jehovah. Pillars, 2. And bowls of the chapiters that are on the top of the pillars, 2. And the nets, 2, to cover the 2 bowls of the chapiters that are on the top of the pillars. And the pomegranates 400 for the 2 nets, 2 rows of pomegranates for the 1 net, to cover the 2 bowls of the chapiters that are on the front of the pillars. And the 10 bases, and the 10 lavers on the bases. And the 1 sea, the 12 oxen under the sea, and the pots, and the shovels, and the bowls, and all these vessels that Hiram hath made to King Solomon for the house of Jehovah, are of brass, polished. In the circuit of the Jordan hath the king cast them, in the thick soil of the ground, between Succoth and Zarthan. And Solomon placeth the whole of the vessels, because of the very great abundance the weight of the brass hath not been searched out. And Solomon maketh all the vessels that are in the house of Jehovah, the altar of gold, and the table, on which is the bread of the presence, of gold, and the candlesticks, 5 on the right, and 5 on the left, before the oracle, of refined gold, and the flowers, and the lamps, and the tongs, of gold, and the basins, and the snuffers, and the bowls, and the spoons, and the censers, of refined gold, and the hinges for the doors of the inner house, for the holy of holies, for the doors of the house of the temple, of gold. And it is complete, all the work that King Solomon hath made for the house of Jehovah. And Solomon bringeth in the sanctified things of David his father, the silver, and the gold, and the vessels he hath put in the treasuries of the house of Jehovah. Chapter 8. Then doth Solomon assemble the elders of Israel, and all the heads of the tribes, princes of the fathers of the sons of Israel, unto King Solomon, to Jerusalem, to bring up the ark of the covenant of Jehovah from the city of David. It is Zion. And all the men of Israel are assembled unto King Solomon in the month of Ethanim, in the festival, is the 7th month. And all the elders of Israel come in, and the priests lift up the ark, and bring up the ark of Jehovah, and the tent of meeting, and all the holy vessels that are in the tent. Yea, the priests and the Levites bring them up. And King Solomon and all the company of Israel who are met unto him are with him before the ark, sacrificing sheep and oxen that are not counted nor numbered for multitude. And the priests bring in the ark of the covenant of Jehovah unto its place, unto the oracle of the house, unto the holy of holies, unto the place of the wings of the cherubs. For the cherubs are spreading forth 2 wings unto the place of the ark, and the cherubs cover over the ark, and over its staves from above. And they lengthen the staves, and the heads of the staves are seen from the holy place on the front of the oracle, and are not seen without, and they are there unto this day. There is nothing in the ark, only the 2 tables of stone which Moses put there in Horeb, when Jehovah covenanted with the sons of Israel in their going out of the land of Egypt. And it cometh to pass, in the going out of the priests from the holy place, that the cloud hath filled the house of Jehovah, and the priests have not been able to stand to minister because of the cloud, for the honor of Jehovah hath filled the house of Jehovah. Then said Solomon, Jehovah hath said to dwell in thick darkness, I have surely built a house of habitation for thee, a fixed place for thine abiding to the ages. And the king turneth round his face, and blesseth the whole assembly of Israel, and all the assembly of Israel is standing. And he saith,
Blessed is Jehovah, God of Israel, who spake by his mouth with David my father, and by his hand hath fulfilled it, saying, From the day that I brought out my people, even Israel, from Egypt, I have not fixed on a city out of all the tribes of Israel to build a house for my name being there, and I fix on David to be over my people Israel. And it is with the heart of David my father to build a house for the name of Jehovah, God of Israel. And Jehovah saith unto David my father, Because that it hath been with thy heart to build a house for my name, thou hast done well that it hath been with thy heart. Only thou dost not build the house, but thy son who is coming out from thy loins, he doth build the house for my name. And Jehovah doth establish his word which he spake, and I am risen up instead of David my father, and sit on the throne of Israel, as Jehovah spake, and build the house for the name of Jehovah, God of Israel, and there set a place for the ark, where is the covenant of Jehovah which he made with our fathers in his bringing them out from the land of Egypt. And Solomon standeth before the altar of Jehovah, over against all the assembly of Israel, and spreadeth his hands towards the heavens, and saith, Jehovah, God of Israel, there is not a God like thee in the heavens above and on the earth beneath, keeping the covenant and the kindness for thy servants, those walking before thee with all their heart, who hast kept for thy servant David my father that which thou spakest to him. Yea, thou speakest with thy mouth, and with thy hand hast fulfilled it, as at this day. And now, Jehovah, God of Israel, keep for thy servant David my father that which thou spakest to him, saying, There is not cut off to thee a man from before me, sitting on the throne of Israel, only if thy sons watch their way, to walk before me, as thou hast walked before me. And now, O God of Israel, let it be established, I pray thee, thy word which thou hast spoken to thy servant David my father. But is it true? God dwelleth on the earth. Lo, the heavens and the heavens of the heavens do not contain thee, how much less this house which I have builded? Then thou hast turned unto the prayer of thy servant, and unto his supplication, O Jehovah my God, to hearken unto the cry and unto the prayer which thy servant is praying before thee today. For thine eyes being open towards this house night and day, towards the place of which thou hast said, My name is there, to hearken unto the prayer which thy servant prayeth towards this place. Then thou hast hearkened unto the supplication of thy servant, and of thy people Israel, which they pray towards this place. Yea, thou dost hearken in the place of thy dwelling in the heavens, and thou hast hearkened, and hast forgiven that which a man sinneth against his neighbor, and he hath lifted up upon him an oath to cause him to swear, and the oath hath come in before thine altar in this house. Then thou dost hear in the heavens, and hast done, and hast judged thy servants, to declare wicked the wicked, to put his way on his head, and to declare righteous the righteous, to give him according to his righteousness. In thy people Israel being smitten before an enemy, because they sin against thee, and they have turned back unto thee, and have confessed thy name, and prayed, and made supplication unto thee in this house, then thou dost hear in the heavens, and hast forgiven the sin of thy people Israel, and brought them back unto the ground that thou gavest to their fathers. In the heavens being restrained, and there is no rain, because they sin against thee, and they have prayed towards this place, and confessed thy name, and from their sin turn back, for thou dost afflict them, then thou dost hear in the heavens, and hast forgiven the sin of thy servants and of thy people Israel, for thou directest them the good way in which they go, and hast given rain on thy land, which thou hast given to thy people for inheritance. Famine, when it is in the land, pestilence, when it is, blasting, mildew, locust, caterpillar, when it is, when its enemy hath distressed it in the land in its gates, any plague, any sickness, any prayer, any supplication that is of any man of all thy people Israel, who know each the plague of his own heart, and hath spread his hands towards this house, then thou dost hear in the heavens, the settled place of thy dwelling, and hast forgiven, and hast done, and hast given to each according to all his ways, whose heart thou knowest, for thou hast known, thyself alone, the heart of all the sons of man, so that they fear thee all the days that they are living on the face of the ground that thou hast given to our fathers. And also unto the stranger who is not of thy people Israel, and hath come from a land afar off for thy name's sake. For they hear of thy great name, and of thy strong hand, and of thy stretched out arm. And he hath come in and prayed towards this house. Thou dost hear in the heavens, the settled place of thy dwelling, and hast done according to all that the stranger calleth unto thee for, in order that all the peoples of the earth may know thy name, to fear thee like thy people Israel, and to know that thy name hath been called on this house which I have builded. When thy people doth go out to battle against its enemy, in the way that thou dost send them, and they have prayed unto Jehovah the way of the city which thou hast fixed on, and of the house which I have builded for thy name, then thou hast heard in the heavens their prayer and their supplication, and hast maintained their cause. When they sin against thee, for there is not a man who sinneth not, and thou hast been angry with them, and hast given them up before an enemy, and they have taken captive their captivity unto the land of the enemy far off or near, and they have turned it back unto their heart in the land whither they have been taken captive, and have turned back, and made supplication unto thee in the land of their captors, saying, We have sinned and done perversely, we have done wickedly. Yea, they have turned back unto thee with all their heart and with all their soul in the land of their enemies who have taken them captive, and have prayed unto thee the way of their land, which thou gavest to their fathers, the city which thou hast chosen, and the house which I have builded for thy name. Then thou hast heard in the heavens, the settled place of thy dwelling, their prayer and their supplication, and hast maintained their cause, and hast forgiven thy people who have sinned against thee, even all their transgressions which they have transgressed against thee, and hast given them mercies before their captors, and they have had mercy on them. For thy people and thy inheritance are they, whom thou didst bring out of Egypt, out of the midst of the furnace of iron. For thine eyes being open unto the supplication of thy servant, and unto the supplication of thy people Israel, to hearken unto them in all they call unto thee for. For thou hast separated them to thyself for an inheritance out of all the peoples of the earth, as thou didst speak by the hand of Moses thy servant, in thy bringing out our fathers from Egypt, O Lord Jehovah. And it cometh to pass, at Solomon's finishing to pray unto Jehovah all this prayer and supplication, he hath risen from before the altar of Jehovah, from bending on his knees, and his hands spread out to the heavens. And he standeth and blesseth all the assembly of Israel with a loud voice, saying, Blessed is Jehovah, who hath given rest to his people Israel, according to all that he hath spoken. There hath not fallen one word of all his good word, which he spake by the hand of Moses his servant. Jehovah our God is with us, as he hath been with our fathers. He doth not forsake us, nor leave us, to incline our heart unto himself, to walk in all his ways, and to keep his commands, and his statutes, and his judgments, which he commanded our fathers. And these my words, with which I have made supplication before Jehovah, are near unto Jehovah our God by day and by night, to maintain the cause of his servant, and the cause of his people Israel, the matter of a day in its day. For all the peoples of the earth knowing that Jehovah, he is God, there is none else. And your heart hath been perfect with Jehovah our God, to walk in his statutes, and to keep his commands, as at this day. And the king and all Israel with him are sacrificing a sacrifice before Jehovah. And Solomon sacrificeth the sacrifice of peace offerings which he hath sacrificed to Jehovah, oxen 22,000, and sheep 120,000. And the king and all the sons of Israel dedicate the house of Jehovah. On that day hath the king sanctified the middle of the court that is before the house of Jehovah, for he hath made there the burnt offering, and the present, and the fat of the peace offerings. For the altar of brass that is before Jehovah is too little to contain the burnt offering, and the present, and the fat of the peace offerings. And Solomon maketh at that time the festival, and all Israel with him, a great assembly from the entering in of Hamath unto the brook of Egypt, before Jehovah our God, 7 days and 7 days, 14 days. On the 8th day he hath sent the people away, and they bless the king, and go to their tents, rejoicing and glad of heart for all the good that Jehovah hath done to David his servant, and to Israel his people. Chapter 9.
And it cometh to pass, at Solomon's finishing to build the house of Jehovah, and the house of the king, and all the desire of Solomon that he delighted to do, that Jehovah appeareth unto Solomon a second time, as he appeared unto him in Gibeon. And Jehovah saith unto him, I have heard thy prayer and thy supplication, with which thou hast made supplication before me. I have hallowed this house that thou hast built to put my name there unto the age, and mine eyes and my heart have been there all the days. And thou, if thou dost walk before me as David thy father walked, in simplicity of heart and in uprightness, to do according to all that I have commanded thee, my statutes and my judgments thou dost keep, then I have established the throne of thy kingdom over Israel to the age, as I spake unto David thy father, saying, There is not cut off to thee a man from being on the throne of Israel. If ye at all turn back, you and your sons, from after me, and keep not my commands, my statutes that I have set before you, and ye have gone and served other gods, and bowed yourselves to them, then I have cut off Israel from the face of the ground that I have given to them, and the house that I have hallowed for my name I send away from my presence. And Israel hath been for a simile and for a byword among all the peoples. As to this house that is high, every one passing by it is astonished, and hath hissed, and they have said, Wherefore hath Jehovah done thus to this land and to this house? And they have said, Because that they have forsaken Jehovah their God, who brought out their fathers from the land of Egypt, and they lay hold on other gods, and bow themselves to them, and serve them. Therefore hath Jehovah brought in upon them all this evil. And it cometh to pass, at the end of 20 years, that Solomon hath built the 2 houses, the house of Jehovah, and the house of the king. Hiram king of Tyre hath assisted Solomon with cedar trees, and with fir trees, and with gold, according to all his desire. Then doth King Solomon give to Hiram 20 cities in the land of Galilee. And Hiram cometh out from Tyre to see the cities that Solomon hath given to him, and they have not been right in his eyes. And he saith, What are these cities that thou hast given to me, my brother? And one calleth them the land of Kabul unto this day. And Hiram sendeth to the king 120 talents of gold. And this is the matter of the tribute that King Solomon hath lifted up, to build the house of Jehovah, and his own house, and Millo, and the wall of Jerusalem, and Hazor, and Megiddo, and Gezer. Pharaoh king of Egypt hath gone up and doth capture Gezer, and doth burn it with fire. And the Canaanite who is dwelling in the city he hath slain, and giveth it with presents to his daughter, wife of Solomon. And Solomon buildeth Gezer, and Bethhoron the lower, and Baalath, and Tadmor in the wilderness, in the land. And all the cities of stores that King Solomon hath, and the cities of the chariots, and the cities of the horsemen, and the desire of Solomon that he desired to build in Jerusalem, and in Lebanon, and in all the land of his dominion. The whole of the people that is left of the Amorite, the Hittite, the Perizzite, the Hivite, and the Jebusite, who are not of the sons of Israel, their sons who are left behind them in the land, whom the sons of Israel have not been able to devote, he hath even lifted up on them a tribute of service unto this day. And out of the sons of Israel Solomon hath not appointed a servant, for they are the men of war, and his servants, and his heads, and his captains, and the heads of his chariots, and his horsemen. These are the heads of the officers who are over the work of Solomon, 50 and 500, those ruling among the people who are laboring in the work. Only the daughter of Pharaoh went up out of the city of David unto her house that Solomon built for her. Then he built Millo. And Solomon caused to ascend 3 times in a year burnt offerings and peace offerings on the altar that he built to Jehovah, and he perfumed it with that which is before Jehovah, and finished the house. And a navy hath King Solomon made in Ezion-Geber, that is beside Elath, on the edge of the sea of Suf, in the land of Edom. And Hiram sendeth in the navy his servants, shipmen knowing the sea, with servants of Solomon. And they come into Ophir, and take thence gold, 420 talents, and bring it in unto King Solomon. Chapter 10. And the queen of Sheba is hearing of the fame of Solomon concerning the name of Jehovah, and cometh to try him with enigmas. And she cometh to Jerusalem with a very great company, camels bearing spices, and very much gold, and precious stone. And she cometh unto Solomon, and speaketh unto him all that hath been with her heart. And Solomon declareth to her all her matters. There hath not been a thing hid from the king that he hath not declared to her. And the queen of Sheba seeth all the wisdom of Solomon, and the house that he built, and the food of his table, and the sitting of his servants, and the standing of his ministers, and their clothing, and his butlers, and his burnt offering that he causeth to ascend in the house of Jehovah, and there hath not been in her any more spirit. And she saith unto the king, True hath been the word that I heard in my land concerning thy matters and thy wisdom. And I gave no credence to the words till that I have come, and my eyes see, and lo, it was not declared to me the half. Thou hast added wisdom and goodness unto the report that I heard. O the happiness of thy men! O the happiness of thy servants, these, who are standing before thee continually, who are hearing thy wisdom! Jehovah thy God is blessed who delighted in thee, to put thee on the throne of Israel. In Jehovah's loving Israel to the age, he doth set thee for king, to do judgment and righteousness. And she giveth to the king 120 talents of gold, and spices very many, and precious stone. There came not like that spice any more for abundance that the queen of Sheba gave to King Solomon. And also the navy of Hiram that bore gold from Ophir brought in from Ophir almug trees very many, and precious stone. And the king maketh the almug trees a support for the house of Jehovah, and for the house of the king, and harps and psalteries for singers. There have not come such almug trees, nor have there been seen such unto this day. And King Solomon gave to the queen of Sheba all her desire that she asked, apart from that which he gave to her as a memorial of King Solomon, and she turneth and goeth to her land, she and her servants. And the weight of the gold that hath come to Solomon in 1 year is 666 talents of gold, apart from that of the tourists, and of the traffic of the merchants, and of all the kings of Arabia, and of the governors of the land. And King Solomon maketh 200 targets of alloyed gold, 600 of gold go up on the one target, and 300 shields of alloyed gold, 3 pounds of gold go up on the one shield. And the king putteth them in the house of the forest of Lebanon. And the king maketh a great throne of ivory, and overlayeth it with refined gold. 6 steps hath the throne, and a round top is to the throne behind it, and hands are on this side and on that, unto the place of the sitting, and 2 lions are standing near the hands. And 12 lions are standing there on the 6 steps, on this side and on that. It hath not been made so for any kingdom. And all the drinking vessels of King Solomon are of gold, and all the vessels of the house of the forest of Lebanon are of refined gold. There are none of silver. It was not reckoned in the days of Solomon for anything. For a navy of Tarshish hath the king at sea with a navy of Hiram. Once in 3 years cometh the navy of Tarshish, bearing gold, and silver, ivory, and apes, and peacocks. And King Solomon is greater than any of the kings of the earth for riches and for wisdom. And all the earth is seeking the presence of Solomon, to hear his wisdom that God hath put into his heart. And they are bringing each his present, vessels of silver, and vessels of gold, and garments, and armor, and spices, horses, and mules, the matter of a year in a year. And Solomon gathereth chariots and horsemen, and he hath 1,400 chariots, and 12,000 horsemen, and he placeth them in the cities of the chariot, and with the king in Jerusalem. And the king maketh the silver in Jerusalem as stones, and the cedars he hath made as the sycamores that are in the low country, for abundance. And the outgoing of the horses that King Solomon hath is from Egypt, and from Keveh. Merchants of the king take from Keveh at a price. And a chariot cometh up and cometh out of Egypt for 600 silverlings, and a horse for 50 and 100, and so for all the kings of the Hittites, and for the kings of Aram. By their hand they bring out. Chapter 11. And King Solomon hath loved many strange women, and the daughter of Pharaoh, females of Moab, Ammon, Edom, Zidon, and of the Hittites, of the nations of which Jehovah said unto the sons of Israel, Ye do not go into them, and they do not go into you. Surely they turn aside your heart after their gods. To them hath Solomon cleaved for love. And he hath women, princesses 700, and concubines 300, and his wives turn aside his heart. And it cometh to pass, at the time of the old age of Solomon, his wives have turned aside his heart after other gods, and his heart hath not been perfect with Jehovah his God, like the heart of David his father. And Solomon goeth after Ashtoreth, goddess of the Zidonians, and after Milcom, the abomination of the Ammonites. And Solomon doth the evil thing in the eyes of Jehovah, and hath not been fully after Jehovah, like David his father. Then doth Solomon build a high place for Chemosh, the abomination of Moab, in the hill that is on the front of Jerusalem, and for Molech, the abomination of the sons of Ammon. And so he hath done for all his strange women who are perfuming and sacrificing to their gods. And Jehovah showeth himself angry with Solomon, for his heart hath turned aside from Jehovah, God of Israel, who had appeared unto him twice, and given a charge unto him concerning this thing, not to go after other gods, and he hath not kept that which Jehovah commanded. And Jehovah saith to Solomon, Because that this hath been with thee, and thou hast not kept my covenant and my statutes that I charged upon thee, I surely rend the kingdom from thee, and have given it to thy servant. Only in thy days I do it not, for the sake of David thy father. Out of the hand of thy son I rend it. Only all the kingdom I do not rend away. One tribe I give to thy son, for the sake of David my servant, and for the sake of Jerusalem that I have chosen. And Jehovah raiseth up an adversary to Solomon, Hadad the Edomite. Of the seed of the king is he in Edom. And it cometh to pass in David's being with Edom, in the going up of Joab head of the host to bury the slain, that he smiteth every male in Edom. For 6 months did Joab abide there, and all Israel, till the cutting off of every male in Edom. And Hadad fleeth, he and certain Edomites of the servants of his father, with him, to go into Egypt. And Hadad is a little youth. And they rise out of Midian, and come into Paran, and take men with them out of Paran, and come in to Egypt, unto Pharaoh king of Egypt. And he giveth to him a house, and bread hath commanded for him, and land hath given to him. And Hadad findeth grace in the eyes of Pharaoh exceedingly, and he giveth to him a wife, the sister of his own wife, sister of Tahpenes the mistress. And the sister of Tahpenes beareth to him Genubath his son, and Tahpenes weaneth him within the house of Pharaoh, and Genubath is in the house of Pharaoh, in the midst of the sons of Pharaoh. And Hadad hath heard in Egypt that David hath lain with his fathers, and that Joab head of the host is dead. And Hadad saith unto Pharaoh, Send me away, and I go unto my land. And Pharaoh saith unto him, But what art thou lacking with me, that, lo, thou art seeking to go unto thine own land? And he saith, Nay, but thou dost certainly send me away. And God raiseth to him an adversary, Rezon son of Eliada, who hath fled from Hadadezer king of Zobah his lord, and gathereth unto himself men, and is head of a troop in David's slaying them. And they go to Damascus, and dwell in it, and reign in Damascus. And he is an adversary to Israel all the days of Solomon, besides the evil that Hadad did. And he cutteth off in Israel, and reigneth over Aram. And Jeroboam son of Nebat, an Ephrathite of Zeredah, the name of whose mother is Zeruah, a widow woman, servant to Solomon, he also lifteth up a hand against the king. And this is the thing for which he lifted up a hand against the king. Solomon built Millo. He shut up the breach of the city of David his father. And the man Jeroboam is mighty in valor, and Solomon seeth the young man that he is doing business, and appointeth him over all the burden of the house of Joseph. And it cometh to pass at that time, that Jeroboam hath gone out from Jerusalem, and Ahijah the Shilonite the prophet findeth him in the way, and he is covering himself with a new garment, and both of them are by themselves in a field. And Ahijah layeth hold on the new garment that is on him, and rendeth it 12 pieces, and saith to Jeroboam, Take to thee 10 pieces, for thus said Jehovah, God of Israel, Lo, I am rending the kingdom out of the hand of Solomon, and have given to thee the 10 tribes, and the 1 tribe he hath for my servant David's sake, and for Jerusalem's sake, the city which I have fixed on out of all the tribes of Israel, because they have forsaken me, and bow themselves to Ashtoreth, goddess of the Zidonians, to Chemosh, god of Moab, and to Milcom, god of the sons of Ammon, and have not walked in my ways, to do that which is right in mine eyes, and my statutes and my judgments, like David his father. And I do not take the whole of the kingdom out of his hand, for prince I make him all days of his life, for the sake of David my servant, whom I chose, who kept my commands and my statutes. And I have taken the kingdom out of the hand of his son, and given it to thee, the 10 tribes. And to his son I give 1 tribe, for there being a lamp to David my servant all the days before me in Jerusalem, the city that I have chosen to myself to put my name there. And thee I take, and thou hast reigned over all that thy soul desireth, and thou hast been king over Israel. And it hath been, if thou dost hear all that I command thee, and hast walked in my ways, and done that which is right in mine eyes, to keep my statutes and my commands, as did David my servant, that I have been with thee, and have built for thee a steadfast house, as I built for David, and have given to thee Israel. And I humble the seed of David for this, only not all the days. And Solomon seeketh to put Jeroboam to death, and Jeroboam riseth and fleeth to Egypt, unto Shishak king of Egypt, and he is in Egypt till the death of Solomon. And the rest of the matters of Solomon, and all that he did, and his wisdom, are they not written on the book of the matters of Solomon? And the days that Solomon hath reigned in Jerusalem over all Israel are 40 years. And Solomon lieth with his fathers, and is buried in the city of David his father. And reign doth Rehoboam his son in his stead. The end of chapters 6 through 11. Recording by Mark Penfold. Chapters 12 through 16 of the first book of the Kings, from the Young's literal translation. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Recording by Mark Penfold. Chapter 12. And Rehoboam goeth to Shechem, for to Shechem hath all Israel come to make him king. And it cometh to pass at Jeroboam son of Nebat's hearing, and he is yet in Egypt, where he hath fled from the presence of Solomon the king, and Jeroboam dwelleth in Egypt, that they send and call for him. And they come, Jeroboam and all the assembly of Israel, and speak unto Rehoboam, saying, Thy father made hard our yoke, and thou now make light some of the hard service of thy father, and his heavy yoke that he put upon us, and we serve thee. And he saith unto them, Go, yet 3 days, and come back unto me. And the people go. And King Rehoboam consulteth with the elders who have been standing in the presence of Solomon his father in his being alive, saying, How are ye counseling to answer this people? And they speak unto him, saying, If today thou art servant to this people, and hast served them, and answered them, and spoken unto them good words, then they have been to thee servants all the days. And he forsaketh the counsel of the elders which they counselled him, and consulteth with the lads who have grown up with him, who are standing before him. And he saith unto them, What are ye counselling? And we answer this people who have spoken unto me, saying, Lighten somewhat of the yoke that thy father put upon us. And they speak unto him, the lads who had grown up with him, saying, Thus dost thou say to this people who have spoken unto thee, saying, Thy father made our yoke heavy, and thou make it light upon us. Thus dost thou speak unto them, My little finger is thicker than the loins of my father. And now my father laid on you a heavy yoke, and I add to your yoke. My father chastised you with whips, and I chastise you with scorpions. And they come, Jeroboam and all the people, unto Rehoboam on the 3rd day, as the king had spoken, saying, come back unto me on the third day. And the king answereth the people sharply, and forsaketh the counsel of the elders which they counselled him, and speaketh unto them according to the counsel of the lads, saying, My father made your yoke heavy, and I add to your yoke. My father chastised you with whips, and I chastise you with scorpions. And the king hearkened not unto the people, for the revolution was from Jehovah, in order to establish his word that Jehovah spake by the hand of Ahijah the Shilonite unto Jeroboam son of Nebat. And all Israel see that the king hath not hearkened unto them. And the people send the king back word, saying, What portion have we in David? Yea, there is no inheritance in the son of Jesse. To thy tents, O Israel! Now see thy house, O David. And Israel goeth to its tents. As to the sons of Israel, those dwelling in the cities of Judah, over them reign doth Rehoboam. And King Rehoboam sendeth Adoram, who is over the tribute, and all Israel cast at him stones, and he dieth. And King Rehoboam hath strengthened himself to go up into a chariot to flee to Jerusalem. And Israel transgresseth against the house of David unto this day. And it cometh to pass at all Israel's hearing that Jeroboam hath returned, that they send and call him unto the company, and cause him to reign over all Israel. None hath been after the house of David save the tribe of Judah alone. And Rehoboam cometh to Jerusalem, and assembleth all the house of Judah and the tribe of Benjamin, 180,000 chosen warriors, to fight with the house of Israel, to bring back the kingdom to Rehoboam son of Solomon. And the word of God is to Shemaiah, a man of God, saying, Speak unto Rehoboam son of Solomon, king of Judah, and unto all the house of Judah and Benjamin, and the rest of the people, saying, Thus said Jehovah, Ye do not go up nor fight with your brethren the sons of Israel. Turn back each to his house, for from me hath this thing been. And they hear the word of Jehovah, and turn back to go according to the word of Jehovah. And Jeroboam buildeth Shechem in the hill country of Ephraim, and dwelleth in it, and goeth out thence, and buildeth Penuel. And Jeroboam saith in his heart, Now doth the kingdom turn back to the house of David. If this people go up to make sacrifices in the house of Jehovah in Jerusalem, then hath the heart of this people turned back unto their lord, unto Rehoboam king of Judah, and they have slain me, and turned back unto Rehoboam king of Judah. And the king taketh counsel, and maketh 2 calves of gold, and saith unto them, Enough to you of going up to Jerusalem. Lo, thy gods, O Israel, which brought thee up out of the land of Egypt. And he setteth the one in Bethel, and the other he hath put in Dan. And this thing becometh a sin, and the people go before the one unto Dan. And he maketh the house of high places, and maketh priests of the extremities of the people who were not of the sons of Levi. And Jehovah maketh a festival in the 8th month, in the 15th day of the month, like the festival that is in Judah. And he offereth on the altar, so did he in Bethel, to sacrifice to the calves which he made, and he hath appointed in Bethel the priests of the high places that he made. And he offereth up on the altar that he made in Bethel, on the 15th day of the 8th month, in the month that he devised of his own heart. And he maketh a festival to the sons of Israel, and offereth on the altar to make perfume. Chapter 13. And lo, a man of God hath come from Judah by the word of Jehovah unto Bethel, and Jeroboam is standing by the altar to make perfume. And he calleth against the altar by the word of Jehovah, and saith, Altar, altar, thus said Jehovah. Lo, a son is born to the house of David, Josiah his name, and he hath sacrificed on thee the priests of the high places who are making perfume on thee, and bones of man are burnt on thee. And he hath given on that day a sign, saying, This is the sign that Jehovah hath spoken. Lo, the altar is rent, and the ashes poured forth that are on it. And it cometh to pass at the king's hearing the word of the man of God, that he calleth against the altar in Bethel, that Jeroboam putteth forth his hand from off the altar, saying, Catch him! And his hand is dried up that he hath put forth against him, and he is not able to bring it back unto him. And the altar is rent, and the ashes poured forth from the altar, according to the sign that the man of God had given by the word of Jehovah. And the king answereth and saith unto the man of God, Appease, I pray thee, the face of Jehovah thy God, and pray for me, and my hand doth come back unto me. And the man of God appeaseth the face of Jehovah, and the hand of the king cometh back unto him, and it is as at the beginning. And the king speaketh unto the man of God, Come in with me to the house, and refresh thyself, and I give to thee a gift. And the man of God saith unto the king, If thou dost give to me the half of thine house, I do not go in with thee, nor do I eat bread, nor do I drink water in this place. For so he commanded me by the word of Jehovah, saying, Thou dost not eat bread, nor drink water, nor turn back in the way that thou hast come. And he goeth on in another way, and hath not turned back in the way in which he came in unto Bethel. And a certain aged prophet is dwelling in Bethel, and his son cometh and recounteth to him all the deed that the man of God hath done today in Bethel, the words that he had spoken unto the king. Yea, they recount them to their father. And their father saith unto them, Where is this, the way he hath gone? And his sons see the way that the man of God hath gone, who came from Judah. And he saith unto his sons, Saddle for me the ass. And they saddle for him the ass, and he rideth on it, and goeth after the man of God, and findeth him sitting under the oak, and saith unto him, Art thou the man of God, who hast come from Judah? And he saith, I am. And he saith unto him, Come with me to the house, and eat bread. And he saith, I am not able to turn back with thee, and to go in with thee, nor do I eat bread or drink with thee water in this place. For a word is unto me by the word of Jehovah, Thou dost not eat bread nor drink their water. Thou dost not turn back to go in the way in which thou camest. And he saith to him, I also am a prophet like thee, and a messenger spake unto me by the word of Jehovah, saying, Bring him back with thee unto thy house, and he doth eat bread and drink water. He hath lied to him. And he turneth back with him, and eateth bread in his house, and drinketh water. And it cometh to pass, they are sitting at the table, and a word of Jehovah is unto the prophet who brought him back, and he calleth unto the man of God who came from Judah, saying, Thus said Jehovah, because that thou hast provoked the mouth of Jehovah, and hast not kept the command that Jehovah thy God charged thee, and turnest back, and dost eat bread and drink water in the place of which he said unto thee, Thou dost not eat bread nor drink water, thy carcass cometh not in unto the burying place of thy fathers. And it cometh to pass, after his eating bread, and after his drinking, that he saddleth for him the ass, for the prophet whom he had brought back. And he goeth, and a lion findeth him in the way, and putteth him to death. And his carcass is cast in the way, and the ass is standing near it, and the lion is standing near the carcass. And lo, men are passing by, and see the carcass cast in the way, and the lying standing near the carcass, and they come and speak of it in the city in which the old prophet is dwelling. And the prophet who brought him back out of the way heareth, and saith, It is the man of God who provoked the mouth of Jehovah, and Jehovah giveth him to the lion, and it destroyeth him, and putteth him to death, according to the word of Jehovah that he spake to him. And he speaketh unto his sons, saying, Saddle for me the ass. And they saddle it. And he goeth and findeth his carcass cast in the way, and the ass and the lion are standing near the carcass. The lion hath not eaten the carcass, nor destroyed the ass. And the prophet taketh up the carcass of the man of God, and placeth it on the ass, and bringeth it back. And the old prophet cometh in unto the city to mourn and to bury him. And he placeth his carcass in his own grave, and they mourn for him. O my brother! And it cometh to pass, after his burying him, that he speaketh unto his sons, saying, At my death ye have buried me in the burying place in which the man of God is buried. Near his bones place my bones. For the word certainly cometh to pass that he called by the word of Jehovah concerning the altar which is Bethel, and concerning all the houses of the high places that are in cities of Samaria. After this thing Jeroboam hath not turned from his evil way, and turneth back, and maketh of the extremities of the peoples priests of high places. He who is desirous, he consecrateth his hand, and he is of the priests of the high places. And in this thing is the sin of the house of Jeroboam, even to cut it off, and to destroy it from off the face of the ground. Chapter 14. At that time was Abijah son of Jeroboam sick, and Jeroboam saith to his wife, Rise, I pray thee, and change thyself, and they know not that thou art wife of Jeroboam, and thou hast gone to Shiloh. Lo, there is Ahijah the prophet. He spake unto me of being king over this people. And thou hast taken in thy hand 10 loaves, and crumbs, and a bottle of honey, and hast gone in unto him. He doth declare to thee what becometh of the youth. And the wife of Jeroboam doth so, and riseth, and goeth to Shiloh, and entereth the house of Ahijah. And Ahijah is not able to see, for his eyes have stood because of his age. And Jehovah said unto Ahijah, Lo, the wife of Jeroboam is coming to seek a word from thee concerning her son, for he is sick. Thus and thus thou dost speak unto her, and it cometh to pass at her coming in, that she is making herself strange. And it cometh to pass at Ahijah's hearing the sound of her feet as she came into the opening, that he saith, Come in, wife of Jeroboam. Why is this? Thou art making thyself strange, and I am sent unto thee with a sharp thing. Go, say to Jeroboam, Thus said Jehovah God of Israel, because that I have made thee high out of the midst of the people, and appoint thee leader over my people Israel, and rend the kingdom from the house of David, and give it to thee, and thou hast not been as my servant David, who kept my commands, and who walked after me with all his heart, to do only that which is right in mine eyes. And thou dost evil above all who have been before thee, and goest and makest to thee other gods and molten images to provoke me to anger, and me thou hast cast behind thy back. Therefore, lo, I am bringing in evil unto the house of Jeroboam, and have cut off to Jeroboam those sitting on the wall, shut up and left in Israel, and have put away the posterity of the house of Jeroboam, as one putteth away the dung till its consumption. Him who dieth of Jeroboam in a city do the dogs eat, and him who dieth in a field do fowl of the heavens eat. For Jehovah hath spoken. And thou, rise, go to thy house. In the going in of thy feet to the city hath the lad died. And all Israel have mourned for him, and buried him. For this one, by himself, cometh of Jeroboam unto a grave, because there hath been found in him a good thing towards Jehovah God of Israel, in the house of Jeroboam. And Jehovah hath raised up for him a king over Israel, who cutteth off the house of Jeroboam this day. And what? Even now. And Jehovah hath smitten Israel as the reed is moved by the waters, and hath plucked Israel from off this good ground that he gave to their fathers, and scattered them beyond the river, because that they made their shrines provoking Jehovah to anger. And he giveth up Israel because of the sins of Jeroboam that he sinned, and that he caused Israel to sin. And the wife of Jeroboam riseth, and goeth, and cometh to Tirzah. She hath come in to the threshold of the house, and the youth dieth. And they bury him, and mourn for him do all Israel, according to the word of Jehovah that he spake by the hand of his servant Ahijah the prophet. And the rest of the matters of Jeroboam, how he fought, and how he reigned, lo, they are written on the book of the chronicles of the kings of Israel. And the days that Jeroboam reigned are 22 years. and he lieth with his fathers, and reign doth Nadab his son in his stead. And Rehoboam son of Solomon hath reigned in Judah. A son of 41 years is Rehoboam in his reigning, and 17 years he hath reigned in Jerusalem, the city that Jehovah chose to set his name there out of all the tribes of Israel. And the name of his mother is Naamah the Ammonitess. And Judah doth the evil thing in the eyes of Jehovah, and they make him zealous above all that their fathers did by their sins that they have sinned. And they build, also they, for themselves high places, and standing pillars, and shrines, on every high height, and under every green tree. And also a whoremonger hath been in the land. They have done according to all the abominations of the nations that Jehovah dispossessed from the presence of the sons of Israel. And it cometh to pass, in the 5th year of King Rehoboam, gone up hath Shishak king of Egypt against Jerusalem, and he taketh the treasures of the house of Jehovah, and the treasures of the house of the king, yea, the whole he hath taken, and he taketh all the shields of gold that Solomon made. And King Rehoboam maketh in their stead shields of brass, and hath made them a charge on the hand of the heads of the runners, those keeping the opening of the house of the king. And it cometh to pass, from the going in of the king to the house of Jehovah, the runners bear them, and have brought them back unto the chamber of the runners. And the rest of the matters of Rehoboam, and all that he did, are they not written on the book of the chronicles of the kings of Judah? And war hath been between Rehoboam and Jeroboam all the days. And Rehoboam layeth with his fathers, and is buried with his fathers in the city of David. And the name of his mother is Naamah the Ammonitess. And reign doth Abijam his son in his stead. Chapter 15. And in the 18th year of King Jeroboam son of Nebat reigned hath Abijam over Judah. 3 years he hath reigned in Jerusalem. And the name of his mother is Maacah, daughter of Abishalom. And he walketh in all the sins of his father that he did before him, and his heart hath not been perfect with Jehovah his God, as the heart of David his father. But for David's sake hath Jehovah his God given to him a lamp in Jerusalem, to raise up his son after him, and to establish Jerusalem, in that David did that which is right in the eyes of Jehovah, and turned not aside from all that he commanded him all days of his life, only in the matter of Uriah the Hittite. And war hath been between Rehoboam and Jeroboam all the days of his life. And the rest of the matters of Abijam, and all that he did, are they not written on the book of the chronicles of the kings of Judah? And war hath been between Abijam and Jeroboam. And Abijam lieth with his fathers, and they bury him in the city of David, and reign doth Asa his son in his stead. And in the 20th year of Jeroboam king of Israel reigned hath Asa over Judah. And 41 years he hath reigned in Jerusalem, and the name of his mother is Maacah, daughter of Abishalom. And Asa doth that which is right in the eyes of Jehovah, like David his father, and removeth the whoremongers out of the land, and turneth aside all the idols that his fathers made. And also Maacah his mother, he turneth her aside from being mistress, in that she made a horrible thing for a shrine, and Asa cutteth down her horrible thing, and burneth it by the brook Kidron. And the high places have not turned aside, only the heart of Asa hath been perfect with Jehovah all his days, and he bringeth in the sanctified things of his father, and his own sanctified things, to the house of Jehovah, silver, and gold, and vessels. And war hath been between Asa and Baasha king of Israel all their days. And Baasha king of Israel goeth up against Judah, and buildeth Ramah, not to permit any one going out and coming in to Asa king of Judah. And Asa taketh all the silver and the gold that are left in the treasures of the house of Jehovah, and the treasures of the house of the king, and giveth them into the hand of his servants. And King Asa sendeth them unto Benhadad, son of Tabrimon, son of Hezion, king of Aram, who was dwelling in Damascus, saying, A covenant is between me and thee, between my father and thy father. Lo, I have sent to thee a reward of silver and gold. Go, break thy covenant with Baasha king of Israel, and he goeth up from off me. And Benhadad hearkeneth unto King Asa, and sendeth the heads of the forces that he hath against cities of Israel, and smiteth Ijon, and Dan, and Abel-Beth-Maacah, and all Chinneroth, besides all the land of Naphtali. And it cometh to pass at Baasha's hearing, that he ceaseth from building Ramah, and dwelleth in Tirzah. And King Asa hath summoned all Judah, there is none exempt, and they lift up the stones of Ramah, and its wood, that Baasha hath built, and King Asa buildeth with them Geba of Benjamin, and Mizpah. And the rest of all the matters of Asa, and all his might, and all that he did, and the cities that he built, are they not written on the book of the chronicles of the kings of Judah? Only at the time of his old age he was diseased in his feet. And Asa lieth with his fathers, and is buried with his fathers in the city of David his father. And Jehoshaphat his son reigneth in his stead. And Nadab son of Jeroboam hath reigned over Israel in the 2nd year of Asa king of Judah, and he reigneth over Israel 2 years, and doth the evil thing in the eyes of Jehovah, and goeth in the way of his father, and in his sin that he made Israel to sin. And conspire against him doth Baasha son of Ahijah of the house of Issachar, and Baasha smiteth him in Gibbethon, which is to the Philistines. And Nadab and all Israel are laying siege against Gibbethon. Yea, Baasha putteth him to death in the 3rd year of Asa king of Judah, and reigneth in his stead. And it cometh to pass at his reigning, he hath smitten the whole house of Jeroboam, he hath not left any breathing to Jeroboam till his destroying him, according to the word of Jehovah that he spake by the hand of his servant Ahijah the Shilonite, because of the sins of Jeroboam that he sinned, and that he caused Israel to sin, by his provocation with which he provoked to anger Jehovah, God of Israel. And the rest of the matters of Nadab, and all that he did, are they not written on the book of the chronicles of the kings of Israel? And war hath been between Asa and Baasha king of Israel all their days. In the 3rd year of Asa king of Judah reigned hath Baasha son of Ahijah over all Israel in Tirzah 24 years. And he doth the evil thing in the eyes of Jehovah, and walketh in the way of Jeroboam, and in his sin that he caused Israel to sin. Chapter 16. And a word of Jehovah is unto Jehu son of Hanani against Baasha, saying, Because that I have raised thee up out of the dust, and appoint thee leader over my people Israel, and thou walkest in the way of Jeroboam, and causest my people Israel to sin, to provoke me to anger with their sins. Lo, I am putting away the posterity of Baasha, even the posterity of his house, and have given up thy house as the house of Jeroboam son of Nebat. Him who dieth of Baasha in a city do the dogs eat, and him who dieth of his in a field do fowl of the heavens eat. And the rest of the matters of Baasha, and that which he did, and his might, are they not written on the book of the chronicles of the kings of Israel? And Baasha lieth with his fathers, and is buried in Tirzah, and Elah his son reigneth in his stead. And also by the hand of Jehu son of Hanani the prophet, a word of Jehovah hath been concerning Baasha, and concerning his house, and concerning all the evil that he did in the eyes of Jehovah, to provoke him to anger with the work of his hands, to be like the house of Jeroboam, and concerning that for which he smote him. In the 26th year of Asa king of Judah reigned hath Elah son of Baasha over Israel in Tirzah 2 years. And conspire against him doth his servant Zimri, head of the half of the chariots. And he is in Tirzah drinking, a drunkard in the house of Arzah, who is over the house in Tirzah. And Zimri cometh in and smiteth him, and putteth him to death in the 27th year of Asa king of Judah, and reigneth in his stead. And it cometh to pass in his reigning, at his sitting on his throne, he hath smitten the whole house of Baasha. He hath not left to him any sitting on the wall, and of his redeemers, and of his friends. And Zimri destroyeth the whole house of Baasha, according to the word of Jehovah that he spake concerning Baasha by the hand of Jehu the prophet, concerning all the sins of Baasha, and the sins of Elah his son, that they sinned, and that they caused Israel to sin to provoke Jehovah, God of Israel, with their vanities. And the rest of the matters of Elah, and all that he did, are they not written on the book of the chronicles of the kings of Israel? In the 27th year of Asa king of Judah reigned hath Zimri 7 days in Tirzah, and the people are encamping against Gibbethon, which is to the Philistines. And the people who are encamping hear, saying, Zimri hath conspired, and also hath smitten the king. And all Israel cause Omri, head of the host, to reign over Israel on that day in the camp. And Omri goeth up, and all Israel with him, from Gibbethon, and they lay siege to Tirzah. And it cometh to pass, at Zimri's seeing that the city hath been captured, that he cometh in unto a high place of the house of the king, and burneth over him the house of the king with fire, and dieth, for his sins that he sinned, to do the evil thing in the eyes of Jehovah, to walk in the way of Jeroboam, and in his sin that he did, to cause Israel to sin. And the rest of the matters of Zimri, and his conspiracy that he made, are they not written on the book of the chronicles of the kings of Israel? Then are the sons of Israel parted into halves. Half of the people hath been after Tibni, son of Ginath, to cause him to reign, and the half after Omri. And stronger are the people that are after Omri than the people that are after Tibni, son of Ginath. And Tibni dieth, and Omri reigneth. In the 31st year of Asa king of Judah reigned hath Omri over Israel 12 years. In Tirzah he hath reigned 6 years. And he buyeth the mount Samaria from Shemer with 2 talents of silver, and buildeth on the mount, and calleth the name of the city that he hath built by the name of Shemer, Lord of the hill, Samaria. And Omri doth the evil thing in the eyes of Jehovah, and doth evil above all who are before him, and walketh in all the way of Jeroboam son of Nebat, and in his sin that he caused Israel to sin, to provoke Jehovah God of Israel with their vanities. And the rest of the matters of Omri that he did, and his might that he got, are they not written on the book of the chronicles of the kings of Israel? And Omri lieth with his fathers, and is buried in Samaria, and Ahab his son reigneth in his stead. And Ahab son of Omri hath reigned over Israel in the 38th year of Asa king of Judah, and Ahab son of Omri reigneth over Israel in Samaria 22 years. And Ahab son of Omri doth the evil thing in the eyes of Jehovah above all who are before him. And it cometh to pass, hath it been light his walking in the sins of Jeroboam son of Nebat, that he taketh a wife, Jezebel daughter of Ethbaal king of the Zidonians, and goeth and serveth Baal, and boweth himself to it, and raiseth up an altar for Baal in the house of the Baal that he built in Samaria. And Ahab maketh the shrine, and Ahab addeth to do so as to provoke Jehovah God of Israel above all the kings of Israel who have been before him. In his days hath Hiel the Bethelite built Jericho. In Abiram his firstborn he laid its foundation, and in Segub his youngest he set up its doors, according to the word of Jehovah that he spake by the hand of Joshua son of Nun. The end of chapters 12 through 16. Recording by Mark Penfold. Chapters 17 through 22 of the first book of the Kings, from the Young's Literal Translation. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Recording by Mark Penfold. Chapter 17. And Elijah the Tishbite of the inhabitants of Gilead saith unto Ahab, Jehovah God of Israel liveth, before whom I have stood. There is not these years dew and rain, except according to my word. And the word of Jehovah is unto him, saying, Go from this place, and thou hast turned for thee eastward, and been hidden by the brook Cherith, that is on the front of the Jordan. And it hath been, from the brook thou dost drink, and the ravens I have commanded to sustain thee there. And he goeth and doth according to the word of Jehovah. Yea, he goeth and dwelleth by the brook Cherith, that is on the front of the Jordan. And the ravens are bringing to him bread and flesh in the morning, and bread and flesh in the evening, and of the brook he drinketh. And it cometh to pass at the end of days, that the brook drieth up, for there hath been no rain in the land. And the word of Jehovah is unto him, saying, Rise, go to Zarephath, that is to Zidon, and thou hast dwelt there. Lo, I have commanded there a widow woman to sustain thee. And he riseth, and goeth to Zarephath, and cometh in unto the opening of the city. And lo, there, a widow woman gathering sticks, and he calleth unto her, and saith, Bring, I pray thee, to me a little water in a vessel, and I drink. And she goeth to bring it, and he calleth unto her, and saith, Bring, I pray thee, to me a morsel of bread in thy hand. And she saith,
Jehovah thy God liveth. I have not a cake, but the fullness of the hand of meal in a pitcher, and a little oil in a dish. And lo, I am gathering 2 sticks, and have gone in and prepared it for myself and for my son, and we have eaten it, and died.
And Elijah saith unto her, Fear not, go, do according to thy word. Only make for me thence a little cake in the first place, and thou hast brought out to me, and for thee and for thy son make last. For thus said Jehovah, God of Israel, The pitcher of meal is not consumed, and the dish of oil is not lacking, till the day of Jehovah's giving a shower on the face of the ground. And she goeth, and doth according to the word of Elijah, and she eateth, she and he, and her household, days. The pitcher of meal was not consumed, and the dish of oil did not lack, according to the word of Jehovah that he spake by the hand of Elijah. And it cometh to pass, after these things, the son of the woman, mistress of the house, hath been sick, and his sickness is very severe, till that no breath hath been left in him. And she saith unto Elijah,
What? To me and to thee, O man of God? Thou hast come unto me to cause mine iniquity to be remembered, and to put my son to death.
And he saith unto her, Give to me thy son. And he taketh him out of her bosom, and taketh him up unto the upper chamber where he is abiding, and layeth him on his own bed, and crieth unto Jehovah, and saith, Jehovah my God, also on the widow with whom I am sojourning hast thou done evil, to put her son to death? And he stretcheth himself out on the lad 3 times, and calleth unto Jehovah, and saith, O Jehovah my God, let turn back, I pray thee, the soul of this lad into his midst. And Jehovah hearkeneth to the voice of Elijah, and the soul of the lad turneth back into his midst, and he liveth. And Elijah taketh the lad, and bringeth him down from the upper chamber of the house, and giveth him to his mother. And Elijah saith, See, thy son liveth. And the woman saith unto Elijah,
Now this I have known, that a man of God thou art, and the word of Jehovah in thy mouth is truth.
Chapter 18. And the days are many, and the word of Jehovah hath been unto Elijah in the 3rd year, saying, Go, appear unto Ahab, and I give rain on the face of the ground. And Elijah goeth to appear unto Ahab, and the famine is severe in Samaria. And Ahab calleth unto Obadiah, who was over the house, and Obadiah hath been fearing Jehovah greatly. And it cometh to pass, in Jezebel's cutting off the prophets of Jehovah, that Obadiah taketh 100 prophets, and hideth them, 50 men in a cave, and hath sustained them with bread and water. And Ahab saith unto Obadiah, Go through the land, unto all fountains of waters, and unto all the brooks, if so be we find hay, and keep alive horse and mule, and do not cut off any of the cattle. And they apportion to themselves the land to pass over into it. Ahab hath gone in one way by himself, and Obadiah hath gone in another way by himself. And Obadiah is in the way, and lo, Elijah to meet him. And he discerneth him, and falleth on his face, and saith, Art thou he, my lord Elijah? And he saith to him, I am. Go, say to thy lord, Lo, Elijah. And he saith, What have I sinned, that thou art giving thy servant into the hand of Ahab, to put me to death? Jehovah thy God liveth, if there is a nation and kingdom whither my lord hath not sent to seek thee. And they said, He is not. Then he caused the kingdom and the nation to swear that it doth not find thee. And now thou art saying, Go, say to thy lord, Lo, Elijah. And it hath been, I go from thee, and the Spirit of Jehovah doth lift thee up, whither I know not. And I have come to declare to Ahab, and he doth not find thee, and he hath slain me, and thy servant is fearing Jehovah from my youth. Hath it not been declared to my lord that which I have done in Jezebel's slaying the prophets of Jehovah? that I hide of the prophets of Jehovah 100 men, 50 by 50 in a cave, and sustained them with bread and water? And now thou art saying, Go, say to my lord, Lo, Elijah, and he hath slain me. And Elijah saith, Jehovah of hosts liveth, before whom I have stood. Surely today I appear unto him. And Obadiah goeth to meet Ahab, and declareth it to him, and Ahab goeth to meet Elijah. And it cometh to pass at Ahab's seeing Elijah, that Ahab saith unto him, Art thou he, the troubler of Israel? And he saith, I have not troubled Israel, but thou and the house of thy father, in your forsaking the commands of Jehovah, and thou goest after the Baalim. And now send, gather unto me all Israel unto the mount of Carmel, and the prophets of Baal 450, and the prophets of the shrine 400, eating at the table of Jezebel. And Ahab sendeth among all the sons of Israel, and gathereth the prophets unto the mount of Carmel. And Elijah cometh nigh unto all the people, and saith, Till when are ye leaping on the two branches? If Jehovah is God, go after him, and if Baal, go after him. And the people have not answered him a word. And Elijah saith unto the people, I have been left a prophet of Jehovah by myself, and the prophets of Baal are 450 men. And let them give to us 2 bullocks, and they choose for themselves the 1 bullock, and cut it in pieces, and place it on the wood, and place no fire. And I prepare the other bullock, and have put it on the wood, and fire I do not place. And ye have called in the name of your God, and I call in the name of Jehovah, and it hath been, the God who answereth by fire, he is the God. And all the people answer and say, Good is the word. And Elijah saith to the prophets of Baal, Choose for you the 1 bullock, and prepare first, for ye are the multitude, and call ye in the name of your God, and place no fire. And they take the bullock that one gave to them, and prepare, and call in the name of Baal from the morning even till the noon, saying, O Baal, answer us. And there is no voice, and there is none answering. And they leap on the altar that one had made. And it cometh to pass at noon, that Elijah playeth on them, and saith, Call with a loud voice, for he is a god, for he is meditating, or pursuing, or on a journey. It may be he is asleep, and doth awake. And they call with a loud voice, and cut themselves, according to their ordinance, with swords and with spears, till a flowing of blood is on them. And it cometh to pass, at the passing by of the noon, that they feign themselves prophets till the going up of the present, and there is no voice, and there is none answering, and there is none attending. And Elijah saith to all the people, Come nigh unto me. And all the people come nigh unto him, and he repaireth the altar of Jehovah that is broken down. And Elijah taketh 12 stones, according to the number of the tribes of the sons of Jacob, unto whom the word of Jehovah was, saying, Israel is thy name. And he buildeth with the stones an altar in the name of Jehovah, and maketh a trench, as about the space of 2 measures of seed, round about the altar. And he arrangeth the wood, and cutteth in pieces the bullock, and placeth it on the wood, and saith, Fill ye 4 pitchers of water, and pour on the burnt offering and on the wood. And he saith, Do it a 2nd time. And they do it a 2nd time. And he saith, Do it a 3rd time. And they do it a 3rd time. And the water goeth round about the altar, and also the trench he hath filled with water. And it cometh to pass at the going up of the evening present, that Elijah the prophet cometh nigh, and saith, Jehovah, God of Abraham, Isaac, and Israel, today let it be known that thou art God in Israel, and I thy servant, that by thy word I have done the whole of these things. Answer me, O Jehovah, answer me. And this people doth know that thou art Jehovah God, and thou hast turned their heart backward. And there falleth a fire of Jehovah, and consumeth the burnt offering, and the wood, and the stones, and the dust, and the water that is in the trench it hath licked up. And all the people see, and fall on their faces, and say, Jehovah, he is the God! Jehovah, he is the God! And Elijah saith to them, Catch ye the prophets of Baal, let not a man escape of them. And they catch them, and Elijah bringeth them down unto the stream Kishon, and doth slaughter them there. And Elijah saith to Ahab, Go up, eat and drink, because of the sound of the noise of the shower. And Ahab goeth up to eat and to drink. And Elijah hath gone up unto the top of Carmel, and he stretcheth himself out on the earth, and he placeth his face between his knees, and saith unto his young man, Go up, I pray thee, look attentively the way of the sea. And he goeth up and looketh attentively, and saith, There is nothing. And he saith, Turn back 7 times. And it cometh to pass at the 7th, that he saith, Lo, a little thickness as the palm of a man is coming up out of the sea. And he saith, Go up, say unto Ahab, Bind, and go down, and the shower doth not restrain thee. And it cometh to pass in the meantime that the heavens have become black, thick clouds and wind, and the shower is great. And Ahab rideth and goeth to Jezreel, and the hand of Jehovah hath been on Elijah, and he girdeth up his loins, and runneth before Ahab, till thine entering Jezreel. Chapter 19. And Ahab declareth to Jezebel all that Elijah did, and all how he slew all the prophets by the sword. And Jezebel sendeth a messenger unto Elijah, saying, Thus doth the gods, and thus do they add. Surely about this time tomorrow I make thy life as the life of one of them. And he feareth, and riseth, and goeth for his life, and cometh into Beersheba, that is Judah's, and leaveth his young man there. And he himself hath gone into the wilderness a day's journey, and cometh and sitteth under a certain retem tree, and desireth his soul to die, and saith, Enough now, O Jehovah, take my soul, for I am not better than my fathers. And he lieth down and sleepeth under a certain retem tree, and lo, a messenger cometh against him, and saith to him, Rise, eat. And he looketh attentively, and lo, at his bolster a cake, baken on burning stones, and a dish of water. And he eateth and drinketh, and turneth and lieth down. And the messenger of Jehovah turneth back a 2nd time, and cometh against him, and saith, Rise, eat, for the way is too great for thee. And he riseth, and eateth, and drinketh, and goeth in the power of that food 40 days and 40 nights, unto the mount of God, Horeb. And he cometh in there unto the cave, and lodgeth there. And lo, the word of Jehovah is unto him, and saith to him, What to thee here, Elijah? And he saith, I have been very zealous for Jehovah, God of hosts, for the sons of Israel have forsaken thy covenant. Thine altars they have thrown down, and thy prophets they have slain by the sword. And I am left, I by myself, and they seek my life to take it. And he saith, Go out, and thou hast stood in the mount before Jehovah. And lo, Jehovah is passing by, and a wind, great and strong, is rending mountains and shivering rocks before Jehovah. Not in the wind is Jehovah, and after the wind a shaking. Not in the shaking is Jehovah. And after the shaking a fire. Not in the fire is Jehovah. And after the fire a voice still small. And it cometh to pass at Elijah's hearing it, that he wrappeth his face in his robe, and goeth out, and standeth at the opening of the cave. And lo, unto him is a voice, and it saith, What to thee here, Elijah? And he saith, I have been very zealous for Jehovah, God of hosts. For the sons of Israel have forsaken thy covenant. Thine altars they have thrown down, and thy prophets they have slain by the sword. And I am left, I by myself, and they seek my life to take it. And Jehovah saith unto him, Go, turn back on thy way to the wilderness of Damascus, and thou hast gone in and anointed Hazael for king over Aram, and Jehu son of Nimshi thou dost anoint for king over Israel, and Elisha son of Shaphat of Abal Maholah thou dost anoint for prophet in thy stead. And it hath been, him who is escaped from the sword of Hazael put to death doth Jehu, and him who is escaped from the sword of Jehu put to death doth Elisha. And I have left in Israel 7,000, all the knees that have not bowed to Baal, and every mouth that hath not kissed him. And he goeth thence, and findeth Elisha, son of Shaphat, and he is plowing. 12 yoke are before him, and he is with the 12th. And Elijah passeth over unto him, and casteth his robe upon him. And he forsaketh the oxen, and runneth after Elijah, and saith, Let me give a kiss, I pray thee, to my father and to my mother, and I go after thee. And he saith to him, Go, turn back, for what have I done to thee? And he turneth back from after him, and taketh the yoke of oxen, and sacrificeth it, and with instruments of the oxen he hath boiled their flesh, and giveth to the people, and they eat. And he riseth and goeth after Elijah, and serveth him. Chapter 20. And Ben-Hadad king of Aram hath gathered all his force, and 32 kings are with him, and horse and chariot. And he goeth up and layeth siege against Samaria, and fighteth with it, and sendeth messengers unto Ahab king of Israel to the city, and saith to him, Thus says Ben-Hadad, Thy silver and thy gold are mine, and thy wives and thy sons, the best, are mine. And the king of Israel answereth and saith, According to thy word, my lord, O king, I am thine, and all that I have. And the messengers turn back and say, Thus spake Ben-Hadad, saying, Surely I sent unto thee, saying, Thy silver and thy gold and thy wives and thy sons to me thou dost give. For if at this time tomorrow I send my servants unto thee, then they have searched thy house and the houses of thy servants, and it hath been, every desirable thing of thine eyes they place in their hand, and have taken away. And the king of Israel calleth to all the elders of the land, and saith, Know, I pray you, and see that evil this one is seeking, for he sent unto me for my wives, and for my sons, and for my silver, and for my gold, and I withheld not from him. And all the elders and all the people say unto him, Do not hearken, nor consent. And he saith to the messengers of Ben-Hadad, Say to my lord the king, All that thou didst send for unto thy servant at the first, I do, and this thing I am not able to do. And the messengers go and take him back word. And Ben-Hadad sendeth unto him, and saith, Thus do the gods to me, and thus do they add, if the dust of Samaria suffice for handfuls for all the people who are at my feet. And the king of Israel answereth and saith, Speak ye, let not him who is girding on boast himself as him who is loosing his armor. And it cometh to pass at the hearing of this word, and he is drinking, he and the kings, in the booths, that he saith unto his servants, Set yourselves. And they set themselves against the city. And lo, a certain prophet hath come nigh unto Ahab king of Israel, and saith, Thus said Jehovah, Hast thou seen all this great multitude? Lo, I am giving it into thy hand today, and thou hast known that I am Jehovah. And Ahab saith, By whom? And he saith, Thus said Jehovah, By the young men of the heads of the provinces. And he saith, Who doth direct the battle? And he saith, Thou. And he inspecteth the young men of the heads of the provinces, and they are 232. And after them he hath inspecteth the whole of the people, all the sons of Israel, 7,000. And they go out at noon, and Ben-Hadad is drinking, drunk in the booths, he and the kings, the 32 kings helping him. And the young men of the heads of the provinces go out at the first, and Ben-Hadad sendeth, and they declare to him, saying, Men have come out of Samaria. And he saith, If for peace they have come out, catch them alive. And if for battle they have come out, alive catch them. And these have gone out of the city, the young men of the heads of the provinces, and the force that is after them, and smite each his man. And Aram fleeth, and Israel pursueth them. And Ben-Hadad king of Aram escapeth on a horse, and the horsemen. And the king of Israel goeth out, and smiteth the horses and the charioteers, and hath smitten among the Arameans a great smiting. And the prophet cometh nigh unto the king of Israel, and saith to him,
Go, strengthen thyself, and know and see that which thou dost, for at the turn of the year the king of Aram is coming up against thee.
And the servants of the king of Aram said unto him, Gods of hills are their gods. Therefore they were stronger than we, and yet we fight with them in the plain. Are we not stronger than they? And this thing do thou, turn aside the kings each out of his place, and set captains in their stead. And thou, number to thee a force as the force that is fallen from thee, and horse for horse, and chariot for chariot, and we fight with them in the plain. Are we not stronger than they? And he hearkeneth to their voice, and doth so. And it cometh to pass at the turn of the year, that Benhadad inspecteth the Arameans, and goeth up to Aphek to battle with Israel. And the sons of Israel have been inspected, and supported, and go to meet them. And the sons of Israel encamp before them like 2 flocks of goats, and the Arameans have filled the land. And there cometh nigh a man of God, and speaketh unto the king of Israel, and saith, Thus said Jehovah, because that the Arameans have said, God of hills is Jehovah, and he is not God of valleys. I have given the whole of this great multitude into thy hand, and ye have known that I am Jehovah. And they encamp one over against another 7 days, and it cometh to pass on the 7th day, that the battle draweth near, and the sons of Israel smite Aram, 100,000 footmen in 1 day. And those left flee to Aphek, unto the city, and the wall falleth on 27 chief men who are left. And Benhadad hath fled, and cometh in unto the city, into the innermost part. And his servants say unto him, Lo, we pray thee, we have heard that the kings of the house of Israel, that they are kind kings. Let us put, we pray thee, sackcloth on our loins, and ropes on our heads, and we go out unto the king of Israel. It may be he doth keep thee alive. And they gird sackcloth on their loins, and ropes around their heads. And they come in unto the king of Israel, and say, Thy servant Benhadad hath said, Let me live, I pray thee. And he saith, Is he yet alive? He is my brother. And the men observe diligently, and hasten, and catch it from him, and say, Thy brother Benhadad. And he saith, Go ye in, bring him. And Benhadad cometh out unto him, and he causeth him to come up on the chariot. And he saith unto him, The cities that my father took from thy father, I give back, and streets thou dost make for thee in Damascus, as my father did in Samaria. And I, with a covenant, send thee away. And he maketh with him a covenant, and sendeth him away. And a certain man of the sons of the prophets said unto his neighbor by the word of Jehovah, Smite me, I pray thee. And the man refuseth to smite him. And he saith to him, Because that thou hast not hearkened to the voice of Jehovah, lo, thou art going from me, and the lion hath smitten thee. And he goeth from him, and the lion findeth him, and smiteth him. And he findeth another man, and saith, Smite me, I pray thee. And the man smiteth him, smiting and wounding. And the prophet goeth and standeth for the king on the way, and disguiseth himself with ashes on his eyes. And it cometh to pass, the king is passing by, that he hath cried unto the king, and saith, Thy servant went out into the midst of the battle, and lo, a man hath turned aside, and bringeth in unto me a man, and saith, Keep this man. If he be at all missing, then hath thy life been for his life, or a talent of silver thou dost weigh out. And it cometh to pass, thy servant is working hither and thither, and he is not. And the king of Israel saith unto him, Right is thy judgment, thou hast determined it. And he hasteth and turneth aside the ashes from off his eyes, and the king of Israel discerneth him that he is of the prophets. And he saith unto him, Thus said Jehovah, Because thou hast sent away the man I devoted out of thy hand, even thy life hath been for his life, and thy people for his people. And the king of Israel goeth unto his house, sulky and wroth, and cometh in to Samaria. Chapter 21. And it cometh to pass after these things, a vineyard hath been to Naboth the Jezreelite, that is in Jezreel, near the palace of Ahab king of Samaria. And Ahab speaketh unto Naboth, saying,
Give to me thy vineyard, and it is to me for a garden of green herbs, for it is near by my house, and I give to thee in its stead a better vineyard than it. If good in thine eyes, I give to thee silver, its price.
And Naboth saith unto Ahab, Far be it from me by Jehovah, by giving the inheritance of my fathers to thee. And Ahab cometh in unto his house, sulky and wroth, because of the word that Naboth the Jezreelite hath spoken unto him, when he saith, I do not give to thee the inheritance of my fathers. And he lieth down on his bed, and turneth round his face, and hath not eaten bread. And Jezebel his wife cometh in unto him, and speaketh unto him, What is this? Thy spirit sulky, and thou art not eating bread. And he saith unto her,
Because I speak unto Naboth the Jezreelite, and say to him, Give to me thy vineyard for money, or if thou desire, I give to thee a vineyard in its stead. And he saith, I do not give to thee my vineyard.
And Jezebel his wife saith unto him, Thou now dost execute rule over Israel. Rise, eat bread, and let thy heart be glad. I do give to thee the vineyard of Naboth the Jezreelite. And she writeth letters in the name of Ahab, and sealeth with his seal, and sendeth the letters unto the elders and unto the freemen who are in his city, those dwelling with Naboth. And she writeth in the letters, saying, Proclaim a fast, and cause Naboth to sit at the head of the people, and cause 2 men, sons of worthlessness, to sit over against him, and they testify of him, saying, Thou hast blessed God and Melech. And they have brought him out and stoned him, and he dieth. And they send unto Jezebel, saying, Naboth was stoned, and is dead. And it cometh to pass at Jezebel's hearing that Naboth hath been stoned, and is dead, that Jezebel saith unto Ahab, Rise, possess the vineyard of Naboth the Jezreelite, that he refused to give to thee for money, for Naboth is not alive, but dead. And it cometh to pass at Ahab's hearing that Naboth is dead, that Ahab riseth to go down unto the vineyard of Naboth the Jezreelite to possess it. And the word of Jehovah is unto Elijah the Tishbite, saying, Rise, go down to meet Ahab king of Israel, who is in Samaria, lo, in the vineyard of Naboth, whither he hath gone down to possess it. And thou hast spoken unto him, saying, Thus said Jehovah, Hast thou murdered and also possessed? And thou hast spoken unto him, saying, Thus said Jehovah, In the place where the dogs licked the blood of Naboth, do the dogs lick thy blood, even thine. And Ahab saith unto Elijah,
Hast thou found me, O mine enemy?
And he saith, I have found, because of thy selling thyself to do the evil thing in the eyes of Jehovah. Lo, I am bringing in unto thee evil, and have taken away thy posterity, and cut off to Ahab those sitting on the wall, and restrained, and left in Israel, and given up thy house like the house of Jeroboam son of Nebat, and like the house of Baasha son of Ahijah, for the provocation with which thou hast provoked me, and dost cause Israel to sin. And also of Jezebel hath Jehovah spoken, saying, The dogs do eat Jezebel in the bulwark of Jezreel. Him who dieth of Ahab in a city do the dogs eat, and him who dieth in a field do fowl of the heavens eat. Surely there hath none been like Ahab, who sold himself to do the evil thing in the eyes of Jehovah, whom Jezebel his wife hath moved, and he doth very abominably to go after the idols, according to all that the Amorite did, whom Jehovah dispossessed from the presence of the sons of Israel. And it cometh to pass at Ahab's hearing these words, that he rendeth his garments, and putteth sackcloth on his flesh, and fasteth, and lieth in sackcloth, and goeth gently. And the word of Jehovah is unto Elijah the Tishbite, saying, Hast thou seen that Ahab hath been humbled before me? Because that he hath been humbled before me, I bring not the evil in his days. In the days of his son, I bring in the evil on his house. Chapter 22. And they sit still 3 years. There is no war between Aram and Israel. And it cometh to pass in the 3rd year that Jehoshaphat king of Judah cometh down unto the king of Israel. And the king of Israel saith unto his servants,
Have ye not known that ours is Ramoth Gilead? And we are keeping silent from taking it out of the hand of the king of Aram.
And he saith unto Jehoshaphat,
Dost thou go with me to battle to Ramoth Gilead?
And Jehoshaphat saith unto the king of Israel, As I am, so thou; as my people, so thy people; as my horses, so thy horses. And Jehoshaphat saith unto the king of Israel, Seek, I pray thee, today the word of Jehovah. And the king of Israel gathereth the prophets, about 400 men, and saith unto them,
Do I go against Ramoth Gilead to battle, or do I forbear?
And they say,
Go up, and the Lord doth give it into the hand of the king.
And Jehoshaphat saith,
Is there not here a prophet of Jehovah besides, and we seek by him?
And the king of Israel saith unto Jehoshaphat,
Yet one man to seek Jehovah by him, and I have hated him, for he doth not prophesy concerning me good, but evil, Micaiah, son of Imlah.
And Jehoshaphat saith,
Let not the king say so.
And the king of Israel calleth unto a certain eunuch, and saith,
Hasten, Micaiah, son of Imlah.
And the king of Israel and Jehoshaphat king of Judah are sitting, each on his throne, clothed with garments, in a threshing floor, at the opening of the gate of Samaria, and all the prophets are prophesying before them. And Zedekiah son of Chenaanah maketh for himself horns of iron, and saith,
Thus said Jehovah, By these thou dost push the Arameans till they are consumed.
And all the prophets are prophesying so, saying, Go up to Ramoth Gilead and prosper, and Jehovah hath given it into the hand of the king. And the messenger who hath gone to call Micaiah hath spoken unto him, saying, Lo, I pray thee, the words of the prophets with one mouth are good towards the king. Let it be, I pray thee, thy word as the word of one of them, and thou hast spoken good. And Micaiah saith, Jehovah liveth. Surely that which Jehovah saith unto me, it I speak. And he cometh in unto the king, and the king saith unto him,
Micaiah, do we go unto Ramoth Gilead to battle, or do we forbear?
And he saith unto him, Go up and prosper, and Jehovah hath given it into the hand of the king. And the king saith unto him,
How many times am I adjuring thee that thou speak nothing unto me but truth in the name of Jehovah?
And he saith, I have seen all Israel scattered on the hills as sheep that have no shepherd. And Jehovah saith, These have no master. They turn back each to his house in peace. And the king of Israel saith unto Jehoshaphat,
Have I not said unto thee, he doth not prophesy of me good, but evil?
And he saith, Therefore hear a word of Jehovah. I have seen Jehovah sitting on his throne, and all the host of the heavens standing by him, on his right and on his left. And Jehovah saith, Who doth entice Ahab? And he doth go up and fall in Ramoth Gilead. And this one saith thus, and that one is saying thus. And the Spirit goeth out, and standeth before Jehovah, and saith, I do entice him. And Jehovah saith unto him, By what? And he saith, I go out, and have been a spirit of falsehood in the mouth of all his prophets. And he saith, Thou dost entice, and also thou art able. Go out and do so. And now, lo, Jehovah hath put a spirit of falsehood in the mouth of all these thy prophets, and Jehovah hath spoken concerning thee evil. And Zedekiah son of Chenaanah draweth nigh, and smiteth Micaiah on the cheek, and saith,
Where is this? He hath passed over, the Spirit of Jehovah, from me to speak with thee.
And Micaiah saith, Lo, thou art seeing on that day, when thou goest into the innermost chamber to be hidden. And the king of Israel saith,
Take Micaiah, and turn him back unto Amon head of the city, and unto Joash son of the king. And thou hast said, Thus said the king, Place ye this one in the house of restraint, and cause him to eat bread of oppression and water of oppression, till my coming in peace.
And Micaiah saith, If thou at all return in peace, Jehovah hath not spoken by me. And he saith, Hear, O peoples, all of them. And the king of Israel goeth up, and Jehoshaphat king of Judah, to Ramoth Gilead. And the king of Israel saith unto Jehoshaphat to disguise himself, and to go into battle.
And thou, put on thy garments.
And the king of Israel disguiseth himself, and goeth into battle. And the king of Aram commanded the heads of the charioteers whom he hath, 32, saying, You do not fight with small or with great, but with the king of Israel by himself. And it cometh to pass, at the heads of the charioteers seeing Jehoshaphat, that they said, He is only the king of Israel. And they turn aside to him to fight, and Jehoshaphat crieth out. And it cometh to pass, at the heads of the charioteers seeing that he is not the king of Israel, that they turn back from after him. And a man hath drawn with a bow, in his simplicity, and smiteth the king of Israel between the joinings and the coat of mail. And he saith to his charioteer,
Turn thy hand, and take me out from the camp, for I have become sick.
And the battle increaseth on that day, and the king hath been caused to stand in the chariot over against Aram, and he dieth in the evening, and the blood of the wound runneth out unto the midst of the chariot. And he causeth the cry to pass over through the camp at the going in of the sun, saying, Each unto his city, and each unto his land. And the king dieth, and cometh into Samaria, and they bury the king in Samaria. And one rinseth the chariot by the pool of Samaria, and the dogs lick his blood, when the armor they had washed, according to the word of Jehovah that he spake. And the rest of the matters of Ahab, and all that he did, and the house of ivory that he built, and all the cities that he built, are they not written on the book of the chronicles of the kings of Israel? And Ahab lieth with his fathers, and Ahaziah his son reigneth in his stead. And Jehoshaphat son of Asa hath reigned over Judah in the 4th year of Ahab king of Israel. Jehoshaphat is a son of 35 years in his reigning, and 25 years he hath reigned in Jerusalem. And the name of his mother is Azubah, daughter of Shilhi. And he walketh in all the way of Asa his father. He hath not turned aside from it to do that which is right in the eyes of Jehovah. Only the high places have not turned aside, yet are the people sacrificing and making perfume in high places. And Jehoshaphat maketh peace with the king of Israel. And the rest of the matters of Jehoshaphat, and his might that he got, and with which he fought, are they not written on the book of the chronicles of the kings of Judah? And the remnant of the whoremongers who were left in the days of Asa, his father, he took away out of the land. And there is no king in Edom. He set up a king. Jehoshaphat made ships at Tarshish to go to Ophir for gold, and they went not, for the ships were broken in Ezion-Geber. Then said Ahaziah son of Ahab unto Jehoshaphat, Let my servants go with thy servants in the ships. And Jehoshaphat was not willing. And Jehoshaphat lieth with his fathers, and is buried with his fathers in the city of David his father, and Jehoram his son reigneth in his stead. Ahaziah son of Ahab hath reigned over Israel in Samaria in the 17th year of Jehoshaphat king of Judah, and reigneth over Israel 2 years, and doth the evil thing in the eyes of Jehovah, and walketh in the way of his father, and in the way of his mother, and in the way of Jeroboam son of Nebat, who caused Israel to sin, and serveth the Baal, and boweth himself to it, and provoketh Jehovah, God of Israel, according to all that his father had done. The end of the first book of the Kings. Recording by Mark Penfold.